in one of the SSC, we saw that the promoters has a different perspective, labor representative have a different perspective, bankers have different perspective, liquidator has a different perspective. And it was very, very difficult to reconcile everybody. Even in the RP and RP lawyer, they have a different perspective every time, whatever we see. So it is very important for us to understand the different perspective from where they are coming, how they are coming, what is their viewpoint of, what is RP's viewpoint. And ultimately the aim, the object of maximization of the value and the time bound process, these two should not be lost. At the time we see in the litigation, so much value is lost that the very purpose is defeated. And for today's meeting, we have a expert who has a banking experience of more than 30 years, 35 years, 35 years. And for last 5 years, he's been wearing he's been in the resolution side, working as an RP also. Joined bank in Bank of Baroda in 82 and now he joined Edelweiss Group in 2015 and empaneled as an insolvency professional with now practicing as an insolvency professional. The person who has the experience on the both the side. So I think he will be better able to discuss and guide us on this subject. With these few words, I welcome Mr. Setia and request all of you to please join hands.
Thank you so much, Parveen Bhai. It has been my pleasure to be here. And I thank Parveen Bhai and Sampath ji to give me an opportunity to share my views and experience on the IBC perspective. Sampath ji, when he told me that you drive and lead and take this session, and he gave me this topic, like a good topic. I have experience as a banker as well as an insolvency professional. So while I was interacting with him, I told him that as such, there is no knowledge source or resource for this particular subject, and it cannot be also. And it has to be an interactive session with the participation, active participation of the members. The purpose of this session is not to find fault with any of the pillar of IBC, but only to appreciate their viewpoint and accordingly adjust ourselves to their viewpoint, as well as strictly complying the law which is made for us. So basically, the main aim of this session is to appreciate the other pillars' perspective, other pillars' view on this subject, so that we can carry out our job and responsibility smoothly and without any controversial. But to come to that subject, so what we did is we framed certain questions or areas or topics and circulated. Our aim was that the members too, because it's basically a practical subject, and discussion can take place only on the experience of the members and the actual problem on the ground faced by them. So we circulated that topics, requested the members that they can feed us with their problems or the situation or the questions on which the discussion to take place. But we have not received any comment or any question from the members. While we go along in the discussion, we will take down the questions and we'll have an interactive session whereby we all mutually learn from each other's experience and each other's views. So, but before coming to those questions, I just have made a very small presentation, and with your permission, I'll take few minutes to go through that journey that which has led us to the IBC framework.
Sometimes I just compare how the board meetings is done and how the COC meeting is done. In board meeting, the single most objective of the entire directors team or whosoever directors is how to grow the company. And in COC meeting is what is the objective is that how can I take maximum from the company for my company. એટલે આમાંથી મારું શું એકદમ object of the COC meeting become very different from the board meeting. So both are meeting, both are added, both are for company, but the object totally changes.
Now, since you have spoken in Gujarati, you know, in Ahmedabad, there are two pertinent questions. Maru su. If nobody is sure about it, what is for me? Mare su.
Mare su. Maru su, though, that,
Very right.
that dialogue, though, I have listened many years when I am following that. Maru su. Aki meeting થઈ જાય પછી મારું શું અને ન હોય તો પછી મારે શું.
Anyhow, sir, you can start your presentation.
Yes. So I have a little bit given in the presentation about the banking scenario. See, if I have divided it to few events-based
Yes, industrial houses.
On the scenario in the banking industry. First is pre-nationalization era, when the banks was owned by the industrial houses. It was not a institution to give credit to anybody. And credit was only to the some few privileged persons. And basically, this was recognized as an institution for savings, to preserve your saving, to protect your savings. People can trust that institution. Of course, there were large number of bank failures during that time also. But basically, it was not seen as a credit-giving institution. So, and banks were also not bothered. Even till the time I also entered banking in 1979. For quite good number, I think, before till 1991, nobody even bothered कि तुम्हारा credit कितना है and what is your profit. Nobody was bothered about these two parameters. The only parameter which was talked about in the banking industry was what is your deposit and what is your growth rate and how you manage the union.
How you
manage the union and keep peace at the branch. You are the best manager if there is no trouble in your branch and if your deposit is reasonably growing.
But then
कस्टमर कंप्लेंट है कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, कस्टमर को जितना मर्जी रोने दो, स्टाफ का कंप्लेंट नहीं आना चाहिए. So that was the scenario.
The order of the day.
That was the order of the day.
And emergency came to the strike concept itself. Because Indira Gandhi was harsh on strikes.
Not emergency. Emergency did not kill because if you see,
overtime also was cancelled.
No, that's right. Oh, that the very long story. But even in late 80s when the computerization came, I think computerization in public sector banks were delayed for at least 10 years as compared to private banks, only because of union.
Yeah.
We have seen the union leaders lying down on the gate of the branch saying that हमारी लाश से निकल के जाएगा computer. So for almost about 10 years, the computerization in public sector banks was delayed. So union continued even post-emergency also, till that time it died its natural death.
Yeah, today now union is...
No, it's not there because one thing is that the labor laws after 1991, the labor laws have been made reform and there has been liberal labor laws. Secondly, the opportunities elsewhere. And hardly anybody now stick to one organization.
And then skill set changed because of the employees doing computer work.
Correct,
and
correct.
They were basically temporary people. They got better opportunity, they went away.
They went away.
Union का वो जो अपना leader था, permanent का, वो
in fact, when we joined the bank, even at that time, it was in our mind that I have retired from this bank. Yeah. And I actually retired from that bank.
That too everywhere it was.
So, but now hardly any candidate joins the organization with that set of mind that he has to retire from the bank. He just think about that how to get a better perk somewhere. though the salaries and all that was not as compared to private banks was very low, still it is very low. But that time, job in the public sector bank was a different craze altogether. So this was the pre-nationalization banking scenario. Then we came 1969 when the banks were nationalized. Then the lot of government push came that you have to lend in government-sponsored scheme, priority sector, priority lending came. Then to some extent, credit expanded, but industrial and business credit, again, it remained the privileged few.
It was asset-based lending, and assets were with the industrial houses.
Assets-based lending.
It was not your talent-based lending. It was never so.
It was actually what happened that in 1974-75, prior to that, before 74, it was purely the discretion of the manager or the regional manager whom to lend, whom not to lend.
Up to a limit, 5,000.
No, in fact, the chairman has the full limit. He has given the unsecured loan at that time also to a lot of people. No, actually, kya hai? See, if you talk about the diamond market in Bombay, it was a face and trust based lending.
Yes.
If you talk about diamond market in Bombay, as a chartered accountant, when I went to the bank, my first role was in head office. I was posted in head office of Bank of Baroda. My first job was to scrutinize the sanctions by zonal committees while sitting in the head office. So when I tried to apply all these norms of my chartered accountancy, I find that none of them is fitting into that. So I just went to my chief manager, who was my reporting authority. Sir, there is nothing in this. What is this? अरे ये डायमंड लैंडिंग जो है ना वो तुम्हारी बुक से नहीं होगा, वो वहां जो आदमी बैठा है ना वही करता है, बिकॉज दे हैव बीन डीलिंग विद अस फॉर डिकेड्स. एंड मोस्टली अभी वो एक डायमंड मर्चेंट को आपने उस टाइम पे तो 5 करोड़ 10 करोड़ बहुत बड़ी अमाउंट होती थी, दिया है 20 करोड़ दिया है, अभी उसकी कोई सिक्योरिटी नहीं. इट वॉज ऑल अनसिक्योर्ड विच वॉज गिवन. डायमंड है उसके पास में तो आप क्या लोगे उससे, आपको पता ही नहीं है डायमंड का क्या है. एंड आई टेल यू, till 1990, in diamond trade in Bank of Baroda was the most active. There was 0% NPA till 1990.
Actually, the morality of the people, business was that मेरा नाम पे अगर एक चेक बाउंस हो जाए ना तो वो नहीं चले. It was 10 times assured कि that I will, even अगर मेरा कुछ भी हो जाए तो मैं क्या बोलते प्राण जाए पर वचन नहीं जाए, वो स्थिति थी.
There was a family business in diamond. There was family businessmen. They were there for ages. And just bank, इस आदमी का है, वो चेयरमैन बोलेगा दे दो यार कोई दिक्कत नहीं, कितना चाहिए उससे पूछ लो कितना चाहिए. And everybody used to get sanction up to top. So there was unsecured as well as the secured lending, but it was accessible to few privileged people. Basically, there was no system of credit assessment. It came with the Pillai Committee in 1974. And then in 76, it became Chore Committee with some modification. And even today, if you talk about credit assessment, that continues to be the Bible.
Correct. Chore and then Narsimha.
All those committees continue. Chore Committee and Pillai Committee.
So it was basically for working capital.
Working capital.
Yeah, and Narsimha for everything.
For everything.
Lending also.
Yes, yes. So in 74 that came, then credit assessment came, and then...
Narsimha, was it very much common to Basel norms? Was it Narsimha Basel norms?
No. Narsimhan actually, he made the thing simpler.
Okay.
Narsimhan Committee makes the thing simpler, because if you talk about Pillai Committee and Chore Committee, it requires some understanding of balance sheet and it's some required understanding of the... So thoda, everybody was not very comfortable with that. So Narsimhan made the things turnover based, cash flow based, but it did not take off much.
I think CMA and everything, I think, was been designed as per Narsimhan's committee.
No, it is designed originally as per Chore Committee. Chore Committee.
But your committee concepts are still valid today also.
It is valid because he talks about the
fundamentals of business.
Fundamentals of business he talks about. So through scenario almost remained like this up to 1991 when the liberalization took place. So if we talk about 1991 to 2008, really when the credit took off, when the banks also came into the competitive mode because they gave license to the foreign private banks. There were
besides that, in 1992, when we went to World Bank for borrowings, they put some conditions on financial sectors as well, evaluation, whatnot. See, we take money from World Bank, and we distribute it to anyone. So how is the money being used properly? Therefore, they first of all, they said that user-based pricing should be there for PSU products. Price control should go away. Otherwise, how will public sector make profits? How will you repay the interest? How will you repay the capital? Those are there, and therefore all the functions of the economy underwent a change because of the conditions of IMF, and this also hit the banking sector also.
Actually, what you talk about, these World Bank and IMF was dictating these conditions to India for a long time. But India always wanted to be in a protective economy. Because they don't want to expose themselves to the world economy because there is a risk. If prior to that, if you have seen what happened to the East Asian countries, the currency crisis in 80s which happened, it was only because they exposed themselves to the world economy without fully gearing up the domestic. So in 1991,
basically based on export lending, we were not based on export lending.
I'm coming to that. Actually, in 1991, if you remember, a very peculiar situation arose when India was having only 15 days reserves for buying the petroleum products. Then they went around the world and nobody lent them money. World Bank के पास गए, बोलते भैया ये सब करोगे तो पैसा देंगे, नहीं तो हमारे दरवाजे आपके लिए बंद है. तो practically India has to physically send gold to London to borrow the money from Bank of England.
Yeah, correct.
Physically gold was sent there to borrow. And then this Narasimhan government came and they took a very bold decision. Okay, let us liberalize and accept the terms and conditions of World Bank and IMF to smooth. And fortunately, it worked well for the country. So from that time onwards, these labor laws and all that was reforms took place, computerization took place, the licensing Raj went that because if you remember prior to that, we were having only 2 scooters, Bajaj and Lambretta, and car was only Ambassador, Fiat. Yes. So then they liberalized the licensing policy, industrial licensing policy, and then to set up the new units, you need the capital. India is starved of capital. So the banking became the main source for giving credit, and already the good system has set up in that. So up to 2008, 1991, if you see, then these prudential norms also came. Earlier to that, it was my discretion. कौन सा account NPA तो हमने सुना ही नहीं था कभी भी. वो बस नहीं दिया तो नहीं दिया, वो account चलता है. 1991 they said you recognize the NPA. Suddenly then the NPA shot up from the banking sector, but it got resolved by 98, 99, 2000 when the boom take place in the economy, and then the things were. And from 2000 to 2007 there was a good credit growth in the banking sector. Now, 2008, the financial crisis took place.
Subprime, US.
Subprime crisis took place, and it did not affect the country. Everybody was thinking that India is isolated from all the sides, decoupled and isolated. Protected from all sides.
This was the general opinion. I had an opinion always, because of the lead lag effect, it may impact India.
Very right.
Because
so
immediately something may not happen. But because of the lead lag gap, something was to happen.
So
and this SVB also now, it's going to affect the startups today. I mean, from now onwards, Indian funding to startups will be affected.
Agree with you. Agree with you. So because of that, see, normally what happens that in the financial sector, your impression is very important. So that time the view was created that India is protected from all sides. And we have the one of the best regulator in the world in the Reserve Bank of India. Financial crisis cannot affect India. So what has happened that most of the NRIs which has kept the money abroad, thinking that UK is more safe, US is more safe, they all started diverting to India, in addition to some foreign investors also. So bethe bithaye, during that time, 2008-9 onwards, my deposits started growing 25, 26, 28, 30% per annum. So now with lot of money flowing into the system, what to do? In case you don't lend, your bank will collapse.
Yes.
So you have to lend. So our lending continued, or rather the speed with which we were lending, that increased post 2008 till the time we faced the problem of NPA. It started facing in 2011-12, then it peaked to 14-15, and then this was the banking scenario in brief. As the credit was growing on, the need for a proper recovery mechanism was felt. So the major recovery steps which was there in the banking industry is, see, initially we were only dependent on the civil courts for a recovery of our dues, and the case were keep on going for years and years. And nobody appreciated the importance of recovery for the banks.
And time value.
And the time value. And when in 1991, the financial reforms took place and prudential norms were issued by Reserve Bank of India, they realized that the banks are having a large amount of NPA and something needs to be done for the recovery. Then came up Surface I Act in 2002 and set up of the debt recovery tribunals. And still recovery mein to abhi bhi aaj bhi, this is the mechanism which is available. Now, in addition to the recovery, then it was thought that if there is a genuine business problem, what to do about that? So then the resolution mechanism was thought of. The first I remember about the resolution mechanism is Sikh Industry Companies Act, SICA, which was came into existence in 1985. Then BIFER was set up in 1987. We have some of the success stories for the BIFER also in the initial stages.
Outcome of OTS, the one-time settlement ke hisab se hi BIFER ko lekhe aaye.
Not necessarily. BIFER was
actually अभी जो IBC चलता है, जो IRP करते हैं, तो जो BIFER करता था वही करते हैं. They are inviting proposals, right, for takeover mergers and whatnot. IBC is doing the same thing.
No, in BIFER, even
in a time-bound manner. That's the only difference in IBC compared to BIFER.
Very right. In BIFER, even the promoters were allowed to.
I personally feel promoters should be allowed unless
it was allowed in BIFER.
Unless it is proved that he's diverted the funds, and that criminal liability will still be there. But promoter should be allowed because he knows the value of the business. He can recover the business rather than IRP.
We'll come to that when we are in IBC. BIFER was set up in 1987. Initial stages, there were a good success story, which I personally, certainly Gujarat Setco. Gujarat Setco was basically revived under BIFER. It was a Sikh company and then revived under BIFER, and it did very well Arvind Mills also did it, but Gujarat Setco, I'm giving example because I was in Halol that time, so I have handled that.
Arvind Mills by itself, it was a meritorious case.
Right.
Machine, product, brand name, everything was good. The management itself was good. But then what happened, I do not know why it had to go to Bifer itself.
Correct. So there were actually, you say there were two pillars for this resolution mechanism: bankers and judiciary.
Correct.
And after a couple of years of good application of mind and resolution, with due respect to my legal fraternity, this was dominated by the advocates and legal fraternity rather than by the financial experts. So you explain to them and then they explain to judiciary and they explain their own way. Ultimately, this whole system became a mechanism for delaying action by the banks. That in case you want that action should be delayed by the bank should not be able to take any action, refer the case to Bifer.
I see.
Aapka, if your net worth is eroded by 50%, what I'll do is I'll write off my stock, saying that barsat ho gaya, kharab ho gaya, wo stock ko write off kar diya. I will bring down my net worth to 49% and refer to Bifer. एक तो मेरे को working capital में relief मिल गया कि भैया वो तो खराब हो गया, मैंने write off कर दिया, मेरे पास कुछ नहीं. And second is you get a window open to buy because उसमें एक condition थी that your net worth should erode by 50%. So I will bring it to 49% by right of, these were the normal mechanisms. Right of the debt, right of the debtors, show the loss, bring to net worth to less than 50% and then refer to Bifer. Abhi bank kuch nahi kar sakta. So ultimately it was reduced to that mechanism that agar bank ka action आपको stop करना है तो आप Bifer में चले जाओ. And all our legal fraternity was comfortable with that. Promoters were comfortable. Everybody, banks were ठीक है यार, अभी तो Bifer में गया, अभी क्या करना है, अभी आप दूसरा देखो. Then came 1991 when the prudential norms was actually Reserve Bank ने दिए थे. So NPA started getting recognized, and then the asset reconstruction companies were set up in 2002 with an objective that a core pillar in resolution should be created in addition to the judiciary, but this was substitution of the pillar of judiciary. The Bifer was banks and judiciary. Two pillars के ऊपर खड़ा था. ARC was banks and ARC, that you take the account from the bank and then again ultimately the asset reconstruction companies also became a mechanism to help the banks to reduce the NPA. मेरे को अपना अगर NPA कम करना है, शुरू में तो एक दो केसेस जेन्युइन हुए, बाद में I will call some company, भैया ये मेरा अकाउंट ले लो.
नहीं तो सर वो शुरू में तो वो लोग ने 5% में लिए और वो ARC भी कोई ड्यू डिलिजेंस नहीं करती थी. 5% में लिया, 5% दिया, 5% तो मैनेजमेंट फी में 2 साल में पैसा आ जाएगा, प्लस उसमें वो रिकवरी में भी शेयर ऑफ प्रॉफिट वगैरह बहुत आ जाएगा. तो ARCs were taking left, right, center all NPAs. और बैंक were also very happy to give their NPAs to the ARC because their NPA balance sheet was clean. जैसे ही मेरे बुक्स में बैंक की बुक्स में NPA अकाउंट है, मैंने हेमंत भाई को दे दिया तो उधर वो सर्प एक्सेल की धुलाई हो गया, वो क्लीन अकाउंट हो गया. और 5% में तो जो बोलो भाव में लेने को तैयार था हेमंत भाई. अभी तो 15% कर दिया, तब से थोड़ा बैंक चेक कर रही है. और मोस्ट ऑफ द बैंक्स आर नाउ व्हेन दे से दैट आई वांट टू सेल ऑल कैश, so nobody is ready to buy. Very selectively ARCs are buying.
No, actually it started with the 0%. You can take over the account for resolution if the bank is willing. Even 5% mandatory was not there.
Then I came to know when 5% was.
Then came 5%, and 5% में भी आपको there were 2% commission on the gross value. So आप 5% लगाते हो तो आपका 40% ROI आपको assured है. But even then 5% लगाने के लिए भी ARC के पास पैसा नहीं था, except few ARC.
They were formed with 100 crore capital, no? So
No, that time
Earlier it was 2 crores.
earlier it was very less capital. So
अपन ने बनाना अभी पैसा की वैल्यू थी यार.
so that time Edelweiss had, and Edelweiss understood that concept. So till I think I was there, they were having about 50% of market share in.
ARC.
And then there were certain ARCs which was formed with the public sector participation, banks participation. So they were not able to do much of the calculation or they were not interested in that. So Edelweiss acquired a lot of account in a 5% regime. Then it was made 15%, because you know what was happening, that 5% you contribution you do, then 95% SR is issued to you. That SR, instead of becoming part of credit portfolio of the bank, it was becoming part of the treasury portfolio. And treasury portfolio is large. So उधर कोई पूछता नहीं है अभी क्या हुआ इसका SR का, because that forms a very insignificant portion in the, so for a long time nobody was even following up, though there was a mechanism that you should have a joint committee which should meet every quarter, it should, all these things were there, but it was never followed up.
It should be valued every year.
Yes, कुछ भी हुआ नहीं उसका. So then finally we are in IBC, which was
here also. What happens? Ultimately, the ARC is not able to recover in 5 years. Ultimately, what happens to that ASR? Now, that valuation norms are there, accounting norms are there. It should be valued every year. It should be written off, everything. But ultimately, if say 5 years, 6 years, 7 years down the line, if that trust is not able to recover, then what should be done? That something write off.
Then it is written off, and only the advantage there is that it is written off as a part of the treasury. A part of treasury means you invest in number of shares, securities. किसी शेयर का वैल्यू 50% कम हो गया, किसी का 80% कम हो गया, तो इसका भी कम हो गया, तो चलो जाने दो ना. उसमें कोई बहुत ज्यादा अकाउंटेबिलिटी एंड क्रेडिट में जब अकाउंट होता है तो ईच एंड एवरी अकाउंट यू सी, देयर यू सी एज ए पोर्टफोलियो. Practically this was happening. We were also asking treasury कि भाई आपका वो SR का पोर्टफोलियो क्या है, वो भी ढूंढता था किधर है यार. तो बोले ठीक है जाने दो यार, अभी आप बाद में लेके आना, अगली बार वो चेयरमैन भी भूल जाएगा, हम भी भूल जाएंगे और वो भी भूल जाएगा. तो इट वाज प्रैक्टिकली जो उसमें फॉलो अप होना था
हुआ नहीं, वो रह गया बाजू में किधर.
The reason was that RCL was the largest. It was to become very small afterwards.
Yes.
SREC, RCL, they were again all promoted by the banks. बोला कि नहीं अपने ही भाई बहन के ही है ना अकाउंट.
JNM is also doing very big business in this. You know, JNM Financials and they are having very large ARC. और वो try to take up entire all the assets. अभी जैसे बॉम्बे रहे हो ना तो 90% is there. One of the case we resolved here almost 100% ARC. The very sharp finance guys, very sharp.
GM वाले companies.
It's a good business.
Company वाले लोग. निवेश company.
It's a good business. Right. If you are doing it, it's a dedicated. Dedicated activity है. Today also it's good business.
जहाँ तक मैं समझता हूँ, ARC को चलाने के लिए जो जैसे भी कंपनियां होती है, they used to keep one police officer, maybe joint commissioner के लेवल का, 2-3 income tax department people, retired people. उनको मालूम था प्रमोटर को किधर पिंच मारने का, कैसा ये करने का, वसूली करने का. तो they used to do it. उनका तो क्या हिसाब ही नहीं है, जैसे ARC का हिसाब नहीं है तो ऐसा मालूम नहीं पड़ता ARC का परफॉर्मेंस कैसे हुआ. उनको मालूम था प्रमोटर्स को किधर पिंच करने का तो पैसा आएगा.
अभी ऑनलाइन कोई है क्या?
12 पार्टिसिपेंट्स है. 12 participants hai. So then came in 2016 in our insolvency and bankruptcy court. Now in insolvency and bankruptcy code, the major difference from the previous regime is that it has mainly four pillars: regulator, because the government felt that the banks have failed to control the menace of NPA. So my views, my representation, my control should be there. So the first pillar became Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India. Judiciary became a second pillar. It was there in the BIFER board, that in the almost in the same form the NCLTs were there and they were assigned the role and responsibility. The third pillar is the bankers and COC lenders, which we are going to discuss today. Then professionals and skill providers. We as an insolvency professional is the fourth pillar. Basically, all the pillars will have their own authorities, will have their own restrictions, will have their own limitation. So today, our topic of discussion is the discussion point is about the perspective of bankers vis-a-vis the insolvency professionals. These two pillars viewpoints we are going to discuss today. So as I earlier mentioned that I have jotted down 7 points for discussion. So one by one, I think we will take discussion on these points. In case there is any views on these points, I think it can even online we can permit them to, because
Yes.
limited.
online also it is permitted that they can add or they can delete for discussion any of the points.
So wherever you find appropriate, now there is again rethinking in the minds of bankers whether to go for IBC or go back to CIRP, where they have more security in their hand. So number of banks are now reluctant to go for IBC, because once they go for IBC, the control goes off. So here in securitization, they take control of the asset and then they can dispose it off.
In fact, where they have proper security, assured security. And second thing, what was time-bound process under IBC has no longer remain a time-bound process. Each account, large account at least, it goes for 3 to 5 years minimum.
Nirmala Sitharaman has made a statement. We are going to reintroduce the old code. We are redrafted and reintroducing it. It also in the budget session, but government to hota hai. But the government is thinking now. Government is thinking of everything, changing the whole IBC itself.
No, actually, जो आपका point है, bank is rethinking. This is in fact will be covered in the very first point. Appointment of IRP, RP, or not to appoint him.
Yes.
This is in fact. और कोई point इसमें अगर हो तो we can take up. Even the online they can, if they want to suggest any point in this.
See, first of all, this time-bound process, actually because of court proceedings and natural justice and to listen to everybody and open to everybody, even promoters who have lost the entire stake is also come and delay the process. That is taking a lot of...
No, but my view is that promoter is an important stakeholder in the whole process. And just because I wanted to resolve, I cannot deny the right of natural justice to the promoter.
No, we cannot do it, but then to some extent one should able to.
Natural justice is being denied in all their provision, all the parts, under the assumption that he's diverted the funds and he's mismanaged it. Under that assumption, he's not being given an opportunity to even bid for the process. Right? Which I feel is actually not correct. He knows the value of the asset. He can do it.
No, only thing is कि I think echo हो रहा है.
नहीं छोड़ो यार, online का एक बार चालू किया बहुत disturbance.
Okay. No, actually, see, the thing is that in Indian society, I've seen, and in the Indian financial sectors, we have seen that we always work on one side. कभी तो प्रमोटर सब मजे करते हैं. Nobody is bankers are feeling helpless.
Hello.
Bankers are feeling helpless. Nobody is able to take any action. They have an access to everywhere. The moment you start an action, there will be some problem from them, and even at the personal level also. I tell you, when we thought of recovery in a particular account, at your residence you will get threat कि कल आपको बैंक जाना है कि नहीं जाना.
Okay.
Even Renuka Devi has also raised her hand. So just,
Okay.
yeah, Renuka ji, you can unmute yourself.
Sir, good afternoon to everyone, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Sir, I have gone through many resolution plans which got rejected. To know the reasons why the process entirely delayed, there is definitely there must be a good learning process to the IPs, because they are the officer of the court and they have to follow all the IBC rules and regulations. Many of the RPs submitting the resolution plan to the AS approval without following relevant provision of the acts. For example, many resolution plans terminating the contracts which is not in purview of the Contract Act and which is not relevant for the resolution of the corporate debtor, one of the aspects. And the other aspect I have seen very clearly, they are not dealing the creditors as per the provisions of the IBC. So the other one is the assets which is not of corporate debtor also dealt in the resolution process of the corporate debtor. These are the main three areas which I have seen the rejection and delay in the process of the resolution process, sir. So the proper education or proper guidance should be given to the IPs to conduct the CRP in a successful manner, sir. This is my humble opinion, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, sure. I
So,
think,
madam, do you have a list of the plans which are rejected by at AA level, which are approved by COC and rejected at AA level?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You're right, sir.
So
Sir,
you can
COC,
send it on
yeah.
the our IBC study WhatsApp group.
Yes, sir. IBC study, sir. I do not know, sir. I will share, definitely, sir. I will do that, sir. I have around 32 studies, resolution plan rejection. I have made a small research, sir. Why this got rejected? So it is a very, very basic reasons where the IPs neglected these facts. Then they pass on to AA, so it got rejected, sir. So fundamentally, IP should take care of these issues, sir.
But
yes.
rejection takes place only if there are, major inconsistency with the IBC code.
Yes.
Otherwise, AA is always, keen to give some chance to resolution professional to rectify it and then again submit the same.
Yes.
So, yeah.
I think at this point we will discuss in detail in point number 5, discussion and approval of resolution plan.
Yes, sir. Thank you,
Yeah.
sir. Sorry
When
for
we come to
disturbing you,
that
sir.
point number 5, we will discuss these points in detail. Right now, going back to the appointment of RP, or a choice or the bias of the bankers not to refer to IBC.
I have observation. RP never prepares the plan. Plans are prepared by
resolution applicant.
RA. So where RP is responsible. In fact, I compare RP as the warrior at the time of first China aggression in 1961-62, where they were sent with 303 guns at Himalaya.
वो भी दो आदमी के बीच में एक गन होती थी.
So that's a problem right now. He has been put in charge, and all strings are with other people.
RP is merely a post.
No, actually, see,
we will certificate under Form H. No, he has to give a declaration that he has seen the plan and he has already given chance
Compliance
to rectify all the
certificate.
compliances.
no.
So overall, the certification will go from RP side. So then, ultimately the scapegoat is made for RP. Now you are the responsible person for it.
No, the thing is that RP का compliance जो है, these are strictly as per the law. And those compliances, verification of those compliances are possible if you have prepared the RFRP with full application of mind, and then you study the plan. You need not study जो दूसरे का jurisdiction है, जो COC को देखना है भैया, आपको अपना विजडम, कमर्शियल विजडम लगाना है, आप देखो, मेरे को उसमें कोई मतलब नहीं है. You have, जब आप yes बोलोगे तभी मैं आगे बढ़ूंगा, बट जो मेरा compliance है, that I have to certify. So वो अगर RFRP के साथ आप मिला के दोनों को पढ़ोगे, and RFRP you have prepared as per IBC 16, there are very selected compliances which is required to be made by RP. So RP, we'll come to that point. Now, right now, discussing about the reluctance, as you said, that reluctance of the bankers in making reference to SURFACE. See, IBC is an additional tool available to the bankers. SURFACE still continues. And bankers is well within his right to decide मेरे को किधर benefit है, मेरा क्या, मारेसू SURFACE में मिलेगा तो I will go there. मेरे को IBC में लगता है, because ultimately at the end of the day as a banker I have to decide. I cannot say कि नहीं भाई आप 6 महीने में ही करो. आपने बोला 6 महीने में करो, मैंने केसेस आपको रेफर किए, you failed to do it. Now if my cases are resolved in 1 or 2 years, I have to keep in mind कि ये 2 साल लगेगा. vis-a-vis SURFACE, मेरे को benefit किधर है? Should I go for SURFACE or should I go for IBC? As a stakeholder, that is my discretion. But at the same time, this is an additional tool which is available to the banker. मुझे लगता है SURFACE में, because SURFACE road is also not very easy. Very easy to get stay on SURFACE. DRT में मिलेगा, DRAT में मिल जाएगा, आप घुमा सकते हो उसको. IBC में अभी still it is much more difficult to get stay than in DRT. आप अगर DRT में जाते हो तो बहुत easily stay मिल जाता है. आप प्रॉपर्टी ऑक्शन करो, अगर उसने नहीं दिया तो आप अपील फाइल कर दो. आपको स्टे नहीं भी लेना है, अपील डिसाइड ही मत होने दो. How difficult it is. So long as legal fraternity is there,
matter is lingering for long.
So far as legal fraternity is there, they will tell you the ways to get it prolonged and delayed. एक एप्लीकेशन हटाओ, दूसरी लगा दो, दूसरी की हटाओगे, तीसरी की लगा दो कि भैया मैं तो इधर 15 साल से रेंट पे बैठा हूं, मेरी प्रॉपर्टी कैसे बेच दोगे? ये तो मेरा रिलेटिव है, इसमें मेरा भी शेयर है. पहले शेयर डिसाइड करो, उसके बाद बेचोगे.
Even in the initial stage of IBC, people, bankers were finding it easy for IBC route because the provisioning norm was relaxed slightly, and it was a time-bound this thing process. But when they realized that now time-bound concept has gone far because of all the challenges of the, so now they are rethinking of coming up back to SURFACE now.
But still, I will say that there is some benchmark. अभी you can say that it is delayed. In SURFACE तो आप बोल ही नहीं सकते ना डिले हुआ है.
No, there is no clock नहीं है ना, clock नहीं है.
नहीं, इसमें तो clock तो है एटलीस्ट कि भाई एक घड़ी है, आप लेट आए हो, किससे लेट आए हो भाई, आपको 5 बजे आना था. नहीं तो मैं 7 बजे आता हूँ, 7 बजे आता हूँ, आप बोल ही नहीं सकते मेरे को आप लेट आया हूँ. आपने बोला कब था, मेरे को कब आना है, तो मेरी मर्जी है मेरे को कब आना है.
गढ़ी नहीं है.
तो अभी क्या है, इन दिस मैकेनिज्म एटलीस्ट देयर इज सम बेंचमार्क.
And then unanimity is there na. If suppose SURFACE is there, if suppose he is having a boiler, he will take away his boiler, the entire plant will shut down.
अगर आपने अपनी सिक्योरिटी बेची, किसी दूसरे का भी उसमें कुछ इंटरेस्ट है, फर्स्ट तो वही एप्लीकेशन लगा देगा, आप SURFACE में बेच ही नहीं पाओगे उसको. So basically कहने का मतलब यह है कि this is an additional tool which is available to the lenders, and insolvency and bankruptcy code is basically a part of the global scenario.
Yeah, correct.
It is not an
India made.
Ultimately no other recovery mechanism gives you an exit mechanism, exit route. भाई ठीक है, आपसे बिजनेस नहीं चला, क्या करोगे अभी, आप क्या करोगे? सपोज मेरी इनकम्पिटेंसी है, मैं बूढ़ा हो गया हूं, मेरी नेक्स्ट जनरेशन नहीं संभाल पाई है, तो अभी करना क्या है? कुछ तो उसका सोल्यूशन होगा. आई विल गिव यू एन एग्जांपल. in the initial periods of IBC in London. I was posted there in London. I was there from 91 to 95. IBC was, Insolvency Code was introduced in UK at that time. And we from the banker side was dealing with the administrators and the resolution professionals. So one person, he was an English gentleman running a chain of pharmacy stores. He first came to us, I am facing some cash crunch. Will you give me some ad hoc limits? I think £1 million or something he asked for. So we discussed in the committee and all that. Because the account was good, the stores were also seen running nice and all that. So this is okay, we'll provide him additional money. We sanctioned it. But then he came back after 10 days. No, gentlemen, I have seen my balance sheet and I've sat with my CFO and I find that my company is insolvent. I don't want to take this money from you. You refer it to insolvency and you find a resolution to this.
He was Indian or foreign?
Britisher. He was Indian, so छोड़ता नहीं अपनी asset कभी भी, वो वहाँ भी नहीं छोड़ते, वो वहाँ भी नहीं छोड़ते थे. But he came. So in case you voluntary reference in Chapter 11 in US or in insolvency in UK, you will find many cases whereby they have voluntarily gone there. And second thing is, इसमें अभी जो personal insolvency आ रहा है, पर्सनल इंसॉल्वेंसी प्रोवाइड्स एन एग्जिट रूट टू द पीपल. अभी क्या है कि अभी मेरे ऊपर डेट है, मैं पूरी जिंदगी पीपल विल बी बीटिंग मी, मेरा पैसा नहीं दिया, मेरा पैसा नहीं दिया, मेरा पैसा दो. ना तो वो केस खत्म होगा, ना मेरे दिमाग से टेंशन खत्म होगी.
नहीं, वो वापस दूसरा रीस्टार्ट भी नहीं कर सकता.
तो वहां पे क्या है कि द पर्सन, हम तो इंडिया से गए थे, अपना एक इंडियन था उधर, बिल्डिंग बनाया, तो माय डीजीएम से इसको पैसे मैं देता नहीं है, तो बोला बुलाओ उसको. तो मीटिंग हुआ डीजीएम के रूम में. एज यूजुअल लाइक ए बैंकर्स वी स्टार्टेड शाउटिंग एट द बॉरोवर, तुम पैसा नहीं देता है, तेरा ये कर दूंगा, तेरा केस फाइल कर दूंगा, तेरे को ये करूंगा. दैट फेलो वाज क्वाइटली लिसनिंग फॉर 10 to 15 minutes, very quietly, very at peace with himself. मिस्टर गुहा वाज बाय डीजीएम. तो गुहा जी आप क्या करोगे, केस फाइल करना चाहते हो? तो उसके बाद बोला तुम्हारी बिल्डिंग का पोजेशन ले लेंगे. फिर क्या करोगे, बेच देंगे. तो बोला ये लो चाबी. नहीं, वो बोलता है नहीं, उसने जेब से क्वाइटली, प्रैक्टिकली आई एम टेलिंग यू, उसने जेब से, गुहा जी आप चाबी ले लो ना, इतना आप मेहनत क्यों करते हो, और मैं आपको लिख के देता हूं, यू टेक मी टू गेट मी डिक्लेयर्ड बैंकरप्ट, बिकॉज मेरे पास पैसा नहीं है bankruptcy application file, because solicitor charges are huge money there. He says, I don't have a money to file a bankruptcy application. You file it on my behalf. I'm ready to become bankrupt. And every month on maintenance of this building, I'm spending £25,000. And from tomorrow, you will be spending it. Because सर्दी है तो उसको आपको heating system on रखना पड़ता है. And then some squatters in England, they just empty building है, वो घुस जाते हैं, तो उसको आप निकाल नहीं सकते. There is some squatters community there. If they occupy that building, then you cannot send them out because they are homeless. Or law is protecting them. So, to protect them, I am spending £25,000 per month. From next month, you will be spending. You take the building. मेरे को तो पता है, मेरे को इसमें कुछ मिलने वाला नहीं है. आपका लोन है 1.3 मिलियन का, ये बिल्डिंग आज की डेट में 8 लाख से ज्यादा बिकने वाली नहीं है. तो आप ले लो, मेरे को बैंकरप्ट डिक्लेयर कर दो, so that after 3 years I get discharged and can start something new.
Hey, this Supreme Court also order came now of this Anil Ambani who is fighting and tape. Sometimes I find that instead of prolonging that individual insolvency, once if that process is passed through, then one becomes feel not. So long as one is prolonging that, one is not free.
नहीं, people will understand. People will have to. People will understand this thing, the importance of this insolvency.
Actually, suppose if I am in, for example, Mr. A is insolvent. If he is delaying that for another 5 years, So another 5 years he also insolvent, and thereafter for say another 1 year or 2 years till the discharge order comes, he's insolvent. He cannot do any business. He cannot do anything. He cannot deal with it, and ultimately the life is getting over. So the day if you once the corporate data that insolvency provision of guarantor starts, the day he gets and day he try to come out of it as fast as possible, it will start his क्या बोला पुनर्जन्म
बिल्कुल सही है,
जल्दी हो जाएगा,
बिल्कुल सही है.
by delaying, and what they achieve by delaying.
अभी तो सर इंडिया में एक भी स्टार्ट नहीं हुआ.
नहीं एक भी स्टार्ट नहीं हुआ.
होगा they will understand.
अभी समझो कि कल जाके अगर मैं इंसॉल्वेंट हो गया,
लेके आ गए.
हाँ
अभी तो सब लोग स्टे लेके आ गए इंडिया में.
स्टे लेके आ गया, लेकिन ऑन द कंट्री आई हैव डिफरेंट व्यू कि सपोज मिस्टर ए बिकम इंसॉल्वेंट, उसने इंसॉल्वेंसी डिस्चार्ज कर दी, सब कुछ हो गया, फिर उसको कोई बिजनेस मिलता है या उसके कोई एंसेस्टर में से कोई एक्सपर्ट हो गया, उसको कोई बड़ा इनहेरिटेंस में प्रॉपर्टी मिल गई, तो दैट विल बी सेव्ड. अगर वो इंसॉल्वेंट पोस्टपोन कर रहा है तो कुछ मिल गया तो वो भी चला जाएगा बाद में.
See, if you look at the animals and the man, suppose today if you have bitch in the house and puppy is dead, for a while that bitch is going to cry, try to huddle. After a few minutes, after half an hour or so, she will realize that now this baby is gone, it's dead. And she will come up. Only the man, human, will try to mourn for 13 days or 1 month or like that. So they're animals. Even if you see the monkeys, they have a habit of keeping the baby clung to that mother. But when that mother finds that now she is dead, or baby is dead, they just throw it. No remorse.
No regret.
So here, that part, in fact, it's a duty of the professional to persuade the people. You think that you have to get detached. If you get detached, it is for your betterment.
No, sir, actually that situation will come.
Insolvency means I had studied because I had to give lectures 4 or 5 times. So 4 or 5 times I had to give lectures on individual insolvency. Then I really studied. बोला इसमें से आदमी प्रोलॉन्ग करने से तो अच्छा है कि अंदर जाके बाहर निकल जाए.
So that thing is going to come in the Indian scenario also. Right now, since this world is insolvent,
is not good.
Is not good. There are in initial stages in some places where insolvency was a part. People says ये आदमी उतना ही बड़ा है जितना इसने दिवाला निकाला है, जितनी बार निकाला है. But it has yet not become a national spirit. So एक बार this law has come. It is not a stigma in the European society to be an insolvent, because they say अगर आप कोशिश नहीं करोगे तो आप फेल ही नहीं होगे. तो आपने कोशिश किया. Even it is said, I don't know how far it is true about Trump also. They say he was insolvent 3 times.
3 times, 4 times.
3 times he was insolvent. Because this is very common thing. They take risk, they take initiative, they set up something, and if it does not work out, with the same speed they come out also. And the bankers also don't stick to the account. Very easily they will just write off, they will sell, because only thing is that they'll yaar public money डुबो दिया, ये कर दिया, वो कर दिया. If you remember, abhi right now to in London the Canary Wharf is a very successful project, but it came out in 1992, Canary Wharf, because they thought of a construction of a very big commercial complex with the underground train passing through that building and whatnot. It was a very highly ambitious project, and it was funded by, I think, HSBC and Gridleys and all that. But ultimately, when the project was completed, nobody was taker. And then immediately they said this debt is not sustainable. They reduced the debt to, I think, by 60%. Running project. They took a hit of, if I correctly remember the figure, it was $4.2 billion something. It was taken by the banks. And then they allowed that company to continue with the reduced debt. And today it is a very successful project there in London. So once these things becomes becomes a spirit in national, and it is going to become. See, I tell you, abhi right now there is a lot of hue and cry. अरे वो किसानों का कर्जा माफ कर दिया, कैसे माफ कर सकते हो? अभी वो क्या करेगा? आप उसको पैसा तो है नहीं, उसके बाद उसको मारोगे क्या करोगे? अल्टीमेटली क्या होगा जब आप पर्सनल इंसॉल्वेंसी आएगी, 5,000 लोगों, आप प्रोफेशनल हो जाएगा, बोले यार 100 आदमी का इकट्ठा पिटिशन फाइल कर दो, इनके पास कुछ नहीं है, ठीक है, राइट ऑफ कर दो, तो तब भी तो राइट ऑफ होगा ना। अभी उसको गांव में क्या फर्क पड़ता है, आपने उसको इंसॉल्वेंट डिक्लेयर कर दिया। तो दिस इज अ वे आउट, आई एम टेलिंग यू इन द फ्यूचर, व्हिच आई सी द फ्यूचर। अभी वो दुकान चल गई, फेल हो गई, वो कोई इधर से आता है, मेरा पैसा नहीं दिया, मेरा, वो भी डिप्रेशन में जाता है, वो काम भी नहीं करता है, कुछ आगे कमाता भी नहीं है, उसको कोई उधार भी नहीं देता है। तो अल्टीमेटली एग्जिट रूट हैज टू बी देयर, एंड IBC इज एन एग्जिट रूट। अभी इट, you appreciate it today, but only thing is this evolution process is a time bound program. Things don't happen, people won't learn overnight. आज आप किसी को बोलोगे आपकी पर्सनल इंसॉल्वेंसी में एप्लीकेशन, और बोलेगा नहीं, जब वो 4 आदमी को देख लेगा ना, यार कुछ नहीं हुआ इसको, तो मेरे को भी कुछ नहीं होगा, तो वो भी बोलेगा कर दो। माइंडसेट, एंड इट टेक्स टाइम।
मनी तो नहीं बदलता है।
हाँ,
I have seen in traditional practice, one of the good IITian who was a prize winner at the competition at the college, when he started a startup, it failed miserably wrong. And then the income tax demand, sales tax demand and all backlisted. He was like, करूँ क्या मैं, बाहर कैसे आऊँ इससे? And after 2 years, 3 years also, ultimately he started second startup and he was very successful. But for that period of that in between period, it was a waste of his.
And to you the truth, last banker, he is a banker. I think you are also a banker.
No, sir. I have only savings account and no to operate only that. Sorry. No to operate only that savings account.
Okay. See, banks always avoid 2 categories of people for lending. So if it is only technocrat and lawyer.
लॉयर तो क्रेडिट कार्ड भी नहीं देगा, बैंक का तो
नहीं है, but there is a tip. बराबर। टेक्नोक्रेट को भी they really, because technocrat normally starts his career in the service, and even when he becomes entrepreneur, he is always in a double mind that he is employee or he is owner.
At the time it's opportunity cost. Government में इतना मिलता था, दिल्ली में इतना मिलेगा कि नहीं,
और वो अपने आप को पहली तारीख को एम्प्लॉय समझता है, जब पेमेंट करने को आता है या रिकवरी आती है तो ओनर समझता है। तो ये एक प्रॉब्लम है। तो माइंडसेट, IIT की बात कर रहे हैं ना, IIT में जिसने MBA नहीं किया है वो प्रॉब्लम है।
So first point, I think we have discussed. Now going to the second point, keeping the
first point. One thing is there, suppose a normal appointment of IRP, RP is smooth, okay, and whatever problem you discuss, it is okay. Now, if particular account has been taken over by RP, I'm not regarding appointment, but this is the experience which I'm sharing from liquidator. Official liquidator who has been appointed by the court, RBI की जान निकल जाती है। How to tackle with the situation?
But how can you take an account from the official liquidator under old regime?
It is already there right now. So many cases are there.
ट्रांसफर एप्लीकेशंस हाई कोर्ट में जो फाइल की थी ना वो में ट्रांसफर एप्लीकेशंस, वो सब एप्लीकेशन कट ऑफ डेट के बाद NCLT में,
तो उधर अपॉइंट नहीं किया था ना लिक्विडेटर, की अपॉइंट कर दिया था।
वाले भी थे, नॉन अपॉइंटेड वाले तो फर्स्ट लेग में आ गए। अभी सेकंड लेग में जहाँ अपॉइंटेड थे लेकिन कुछ काम ही नहीं किया उसने,
अभी क्या हो रहा है सर,
वो वाले ट्रांसफर हो गए।
जो
2015-16 के जो केसेज है उससे पहले के, लिक्विडेटर अपॉइंट हो गया, लायबिलिटी इतनी ज्यादा है, उसने कुछ काम नहीं किया, किसी का कोई सिक्योर्ड प्रॉपर्टी है उसने एप्लीकेशन डाल दिया और लिक्विडेटर कोई ऑब्जेक्शन नहीं करा, बोलो जाने दो,
ट्रांसफर हो गया।
ट्रांसफर होना
तो NCLT में ट्रांसफर हो गया और NCLT बेंच ने उसको अपॉइंट कर दिया। ये IBC में से
ऐसे बहुत सी एप्लीकेशन पेंडिंग है, इनपर मेरा भी एक जगह क्लेम पेंडिंग है लिक्विडेटर से मिल के आए, बोलो अहमद भाई, बोलो क्या करें,
वो
इतने क्लेम है, मैं कर ही नहीं सकता, बोलो सिक्योर्ड क्रेडिटर्स को ले जाने दो, आई विल नॉट ऑब्जेक्ट।
उसमें सर वो जो एप्लीकेशंस है ना, वो कौन सी है कि जिसमें लिक्विडेटर अपॉइंट हुआ है और वो कंपनी का एक भी असेट पे उसने कोई सेल नहीं किया, जहाँ समझो 3 असेट थे लेकिन एक सेल किया, 2 बाकी है, वो वाली नहीं हुई, लेकिन 3 असेट,
जीरो रियलाइजेशन है अब तक,
नो नथिंग हैज बीन सोल्ड,
क्लेम भी इनवाइट नहीं किया सर, वो लिक्विडेटर ने क्लेम भी इनवाइट नहीं किया।
नहीं, एक्चुअली द ऑफिशियल लिक्विडेटर इज ए वेरी इल इक्विप्ड, उसके पास कोई रिसोर्सेज अवेलेबल नहीं है। अगर आप देखोगे तो उसके पास वेरी मिनिमल रिसोर्सेज अवेलेबल है एंड वेरी मिनिमल अथॉरिटी ही वाज एंजॉयिंग। सो
It's highly corrupt organization. Sorry.
नथिंग अदर देन करप्शन।
नहीं, वो क्या है सर, अभी 5 साल तक उन्होंने रखा, 7 साल तक रखा, अभी 7 साल बाद वो इसमें आ रहा है एनसीएलटी, तो उसमें बचा क्या, सिर्फ जो एक पर्टिकुलर एसेट बचेगी, बिकेगी, उसका पैसा सिक्योर्ड क्रेडिटर के पास चला जाएगा। वो 5 साल तो 7 साल तो बेकार हो गया ना सबके।
तो 7 साल तक खर्चा कौन किया, सिक्योरिटी सब जो बोलते थे,
वो कुछ नहीं किया, वो ऐसे ही अनसिक्योर्ड ही रही।
नो
और उसमें क्या है सर,
कंट्रीब्यूट किया था
पहले के
फाइनेंशियल
केसेज है, अभी वो प्रायोरिटी चेंज हो गई, जो ऑयल के पास है वो ओल्ड प्रायोरिटी वाले केसेज है,
हाँ जी,
और सिक्योर्ड क्रेडिटर्स उसको अभी एनसीएलटी में लेके जा रहे हैं, ऑयल कुछ ऑब्जेक्शन नहीं कर रहे।
only precautions which I would suggest in this case that whosoever takes over these accounts, they should prepare a proper document that in what stage it is, because tomorrow the old thing should not come on his head.
तुमने ये स्थिति में लिया, आज मैंने ये
आज की
पोजीशन,
ये स्थिति है, वहां पे यूनिट में ये है और अकाउंट्स में ये है और कंप्लायंस में ये है,
और वीडियो भी ले ले हुए हो गए,
और जो जितना आप मैक्सिमम रिकॉर्ड उसमें क्रिएट कर सकते हो, यू मस्ट क्रिएट द रिकॉर्ड टू इंडिकेट व्हाट इज द प्रेजेंट पोजीशन, so that any stakeholder, if at a future date raises any problem, you should be able to defend yours. It's a very risky proposition.
तो उसमें सर सबसे बड़ा चैलेंज आएगा, जो ओएल से एनसीएलटी में जा रहा है, उनकी प्रायोरिटी चेंज हो रही है डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन की, तो उसमें
53 सेक्शन चेंज हो रहा है
अभी अब पहले प्रायोरिटी कुछ और थी, अभी प्रायोरिटी कुछ और हो जाएगी, उसको कैसे आरपी हैंडल करेगा?
वो
He will go by SO. RBI will handle as per IBC.
नहीं, प्रायोरिटी चेंज मतलब सर,
पहले इनकम टैक्स के ड्यूज मिलने थे, पहले
अभी नहीं मिलेंगे।
नहीं,
अभी नहीं मिलेंगे।
सही बात।
तो ये तो मतलब और एक तीसरा ही चीज खड़ा हो गया ना सर।
नहीं, but see,
जिस समय लिक्विडेट हुआ उस समय क्रोन चार्ज था, सबका मिलना था, टीडीएस
see,
मिलना था।
आज की डेट में आपके पास कौन सी सिक्योरिटी है और कौन से स्टेक होल्डर्स है एज पर आईबीसी?
नहीं, भाई का क्वेरी है,
मैं एक सर एक प्रैक्टिकल क्वेश्चन बताता हूँ, प्रैक्टिकल।
पहले के लॉ अंडर ओल्ड लॉ ग्राउंड ड्यूज
अमेंड हो गया ना सर, कंपनीज एक्ट इज अमेंडेड and it is now in line with
that section they have said that it will refer to IBC ना,
वो था अलाइन नाउ, ओएल के पास भी था, वो भी कंपनीज एक्ट के हिसाब से उसको करना था,
हाँ जी,
बराबर ना? तो कंपनीज एक्ट में अंडर वाइंडिंग अप प्रोविजन, there is a provision for direct winding up under Companies Act also now, apart from IBC. So that is there. So that also it is section 53 wonderful mechanism that comes into.
Oil has a limited manpower, limited resources. Now when oil takes charge, he also is not inventorizing anything. He just goes there, puts something, some seal, paper seal, and he thinks that everything is going to be safe. Now when you are going to take from him, at that time, he will simply say, I don't have any record. I will just give you whatever you
I have.
In the inventory, you take inventory.
सर ये ऑयल नहीं, अभी हमने हमारे एक मैटर में प्रॉपर्टी अथॉरिटी, प्रॉपर्टी टैक्स नहीं भरा था, तो लोकल टैक्स अथॉरिटीज प्रॉपर्टी टैक्स वाले ने कस्टडी ले ली थी, उससे हमको लेनी थी एज IRP कस्टडी। सो it's a very interesting episode that you can understand. तो उसमें हम जब लेने गए तो मेरी फैक्ट्री करीबन 80 एकड़ जमीन थी जिसपे ये फैक्ट्री लोकेटेड थी। ओके, पहले तो बहुत गाना हुआ कि हम नहीं देंगे, ये नहीं देंगे, फिर उसको IBC सिखाया एंड देन फाइनली एग्रीड टू गिव अस द कस्टडी। व्हेन वी वेंट देयर वाज नो फेंस on the total 80 peripheries. सील उसने फैक्ट्री का पोजीशन कैसे लिया था, तो एक दरवाजा था जिस पे पप्पा लगा दिया और कस्टडी ले लिया। बोलता है मैं ये दरवाजा आपको खोल के दूंगा, आप कस्टडी मेरे से ले रहे हो। मैं बोला ऐसा मेरे को नहीं चाहिए, अंदर प्लांट कहाँ रहेगा, प्लांट तो सब गया खत्म अब तक। तो हमने देन वी हैव टेकन अ
वीडियोग्राफी लेना
साथ में एंटर करते हो जो कमेंट्री, लाइव कमेंट्री कैसे देते हैं वैसे हम बोलते जा रहे हैं कि ये खोल रहा है, इसमें क्या दिख रहा है, उसका वीडियो लिया, वीडियो लेके बाहर निकल के वापस हम हमारा सील लगाते जा रहे थे। इट वाज अ क्लोज डाउन यूनिट, बट रनिंग यूनिट्स में और उसमें अगर कस्टडी लेने आए हैं तो इट बिकम्स वेरी चैलेंजिंग। वहां हमने वो पूरा वीडियोग्राफी लिया, वो जो अथॉरिटी से
पंचनामा किया,
अथॉरिटी जो हैंड ओवर कर रहा था उसका पूरा वीडियो उतारा है। उसको बोला तूने कैसे कस्टडी ली है और तू क्या कस्टडी में दे रहा है, where is the list of asset? He said I don't have list of asset, everything is recorded and पंचनामा शीट जैसा बनाया था एंड उसका सिग्नेचर लिया था। बोला मैं साइन नहीं करूंगा, मेरी नौकरी जाएगी। हमने बोला तू तेरा को जो तेरा डिस्क्लेमर डालना है, लेकिन कस्टडी दे रहा है तो तेरे को पेपर तो साइन ऑफ करना ही पड़ेगा। तो उसने अपने हिसाब से 4-5 लाइन अपनी डाली कि मेरी कोई जिम्मेदारी नहीं है। बोला तेरे को जो लिखना है, मेरे को तेरे से कोई दुश्मनी नहीं है, आई एम नॉट अगेंस्ट यू, बट तू मेरे को क्या दे रहा है वो क्लैरिटी होनी चाहिए, और साइन की थी। सेम वे ओएल में और एक चले जाती है, क्योंकि ओएल से प्रॉपर्टी का चार्ज नहीं रहता है, अकाउंट का भी चार्ज उसके पास चला जाता है काफी बार, तो वो डिटेल्स तो मिलनी ही नहीं है। वो तो प्रॉपर्टी में भी वो पत्र लगा के छोड़ देता है, फिर कुछ नहीं रहता है। कभी भी ओएल ने गार्ड नहीं लगाया आज तक। हम तो आज भी कहीं भी लेते हैं पोजीशन तो अपने गार्ड्स लगा देते हैं तुरंत ही, वो कभी भी गार्ड्स नहीं लगाता है।
अभी इसमें द डिफरेंस बिटवीन आईबीसी एंड ओएल इज देयर। यहाँ पे एक मैकेनिज्म है टू फंड द कॉस्ट, लिक्विडेशन कॉस्ट, समबडी इज देयर जिससे आप मांग सकते हो, और अगर वो नहीं देता तो आप बता सकते हो कि ये मेरे को नहीं दिया इसमें, इसलिए मैं नहीं कर पाया। बट ओएल के पास
कुछ और हैंडओवर के टाइम,
हाँ नहीं ओएल के पास बाई ही डिड इट। अभी जैसे फेंसिंग अगर बिल्डिंग में नहीं है, अब फेंसिंग लगाने के लिए पैसा चाहिए, उसको पैसा कौन देगा ओएल को?
कोई नहीं देगा।
वो अलग चीज है। ही इज टॉकिंग ऑफ द डिफिकल्टीज एट द टाइम ऑफ टेक ओवर
फ्रॉम ओएल टू आरपी।
नहीं टेक ओवर का भी डिफिकल्टी इसलिए आता है कि भी पहली बात तो ये है कि मैं तो आई एम एन एम्प्लॉय, आई एम गेटिंग हिज सैलरी, और आपने मेरे को यूनिट दे दिया, भैया ये यूनिट, और प्रमोटर बोलता है आप संभालो, कंपनी लिक्विडेशन में जा रही है, आप संभालो। यू हैव टू मैनेज ओनली विद द फंड्स ऑफ द कंपनी, ऑफ दी
कंपनी में तो कैश है,
कंपनी में कैश है नहीं।
प्रॉब्लम ये है कि इन्वेंटरी ही नहीं है।
नहीं मैं
उसका प्रोसेस,
हाँ वो वाई क्यों नहीं है, बिकॉज अगर वो 2 साल लिक्विडेटर के पास रहा और अगर वो पीछे से कोई आदमी आके चोरी कर रहा है, लिक्विडेटर को मालूम भी है चोरी कर रहा है, और उसको भी मालूम है कौन चोरी कर रहा है, द मोमेंट ही रेजेस ए वॉइस बोले एक्शन लो, वो एक्शन क्या लेगा?
सर आई डिफर अ लिटिल बिट ऑन दिस। ओएल और अपने में डिफरेंस सबसे बड़ा ये है, ओएल इज अ गवर्नमेंट ऑफिशियल, वी आर नॉट अ गवर्नमेंट ऑफिशियल, ओके। He has all the mechanism under that position at his disposal to take custody. We don't have that. We are moving. हम assume सर हमको एक लव लेटर दे दिया ना उसने एक मैटर में कि आपको you are a court officer. There is a difference between that. This is just a IBP है, वो एक स्टेटमेंट पे हम कहीं जाके बोलो नहीं होता है, उस पे सीवीसी बैठती है, अपने पे सीवीसी नहीं बैठ सकती उस पे। सो वहां अगर उसको लेना है कस्टडी, उसका पूरा मैकेनिज्म दिया गया है उसको कि he has to use that mechanism to take custody. वो बात अलग है, जैसे पंकज भाई ने बताया वैसा सब है, इसलिए सब नहीं होता है। It is not that he does not have he has more power than us to take the custody and take a charge. हमने ओएल का भी मैंने बहुत काम किया है पहले, तो वहां ओएल अगर करना चाहे तो अपने से 3 गुना काम कर सकता है। But yes, that is a different subject altogether. Point what Hemant Bhai is raising is, OL से हमको लेना है तो what are the precautions that we should take? So OL से जो भी ले रहे हो आप राइटिंग में और वीडियोग्राफी में ले लो, बात खत्म।
These are all the
अभी आप जैसे हम IRP है और जो कंपनी में प्रमोटर absconding है, you don't have anyone to report, then still you take the custody of various things without them. It is as good as that matter. This matter is that.
But here he refuses to give the possession itself. We said कि भाई हाई कोर्ट में जाओ, मेरा पैसा दो और ले जाओ। अभी पैसा IRP के पास है नहीं।
नहीं किसका पैसा दो?
मेरा जो अभी तक का खर्चा है वो
ओएल का।
हेमंत भाई ये चीज में COC को बोलना है कि इतना पैसा दोगे तो वो चार्ज छोड़ेगा, वरना वो एप्लीकेशन COC will file against you. It is an application moved by COC under try and transfer the matter here. The past cost relevant to the court has to be borne by COC. It has nothing relevant with these lines to us.
अब इसी वो तो लिक्विडेटर आएगा तो SCC हो जाएगी
वैसा तो वो आ जाना है और वो COC has to handle और मतलब जो भी COC मेंबर था वो उसको हैंडल करेगा.
चटनी भी ले लो.
बिल्कुल सही है एक्चुअली.
Yes.
Any other point in this initial
liquidator?
वो आपको टेक ओवर का चार्ज एग्जीक्यूशन ऑफ द ऑर्डर में नहीं डिस्कस करें. सॉरी, आपको जब अपॉइंटमेंट देते
नहीं, बट अगर कोर्ट ऑर्डर ने तुमको अपॉइंट किया तो उसमें थोड़ी लिखा है कि इतना पैसा उसको देने का.
कोर्ट ऑर्डर में लिखा है लेकिन
एनसीएलटी का ऑर्डर है ना, देयर इट इज नॉट इंसर्टेड. अगर मेरे को तुम कस्टडी नहीं देगा तो मेरा रोल कैसे चालू होएगा?
NCLT is giving in the order.
वो तो
नहीं OL का चार्जेस का लिखा है. नहीं OL का चार्ज पे करना नहीं लिखा है.
हाँ लिखते हैं.
लिखा है आप ऐसे भी मतलब वो ऐसे भी छोड़ेगा नहीं. आप लिखो नहीं लिखो फिर आप उसके सामने लिटिगेशन करो पता लगे.
नहीं, वो लिख के आता है इतना अमाउंट है, अमाउंट के साथ में. और आप जब तक पेमेंट नहीं करोगे तब तक वो आपको चार्ज नहीं देगा. इवन दैट आल्सो इज इंक्लूडेड इन द NCLT ऑर्डर.
डबल ले लो.
पानी का बॉटल स्पीकर तो देगा नहीं, खाली हो गया तो.
should we move forward? Now, second point which we wanted to discuss is keeping the corporate debtor as a going concern.
Common issue. COC is not ready to fund all this
Interim cost
or
interim funding
as well as even though it is already laid down in the law, as well as there has been so many decisions by the NCLT, NCLAT and Supreme Court. Still they are reluctant to give the running cost after so many persuasion, after so many request and explaining it in details. So that is the issue.
See, we know that unit is running below break-even cost. We are just requesting you give us 25 lakhs rupees as a interim funding.
इवन सर जो कोर्ट अपॉइंटमेंट में रहता है, अपॉइंटमेंट के टाइम पे जो जितना भी एप्लीकेंट हैज टू पे 5 लाख रुपए, ओसी तो दे देते हैं आजकल, एफसी नहीं देते हैं. ओसी तो फिर भी दे देता है.
दे दो.
ओसी भी इंस्टॉलमेंट में रहता है क्या?
अरे सर फिर भी दे देते हैं वो लोग, एफसी नहीं देते. वो लोग अकाउंट को डेबिट कर दो.
वो बोलते क्यों लॉस में कर रहे हो यूनिट? भाई वी आर मेकिंग लॉस ना, तो उसको बंद कर दो. और क्या?
नहीं तो हम लोग बोलते तो रिजोल्यूशन दे दे लिख के, तो मैं बंद कर दूंगा. मेरे को तो बोला है कि गोइंग कंसर्न मेंटेन करने का. सेक्शन आई थिंक 20 में या किस में है, यू हैव टू मेंटेन दैट इज अ गोइंग कंसर्न. नोटेड डाउन इन द मिनट अपना COC मीटिंग. You give it in the writing, we will close down.
The only option available with us is to put everything on record. With the proper plan, we have to go. That presently, the unit is running into below the break-even point. But how this point is justified in and for the better realization of value, we have to put our viewpoint. And we have to give COC the estimate and record their views also.
And what we have said is, if you are not giving as an interim finding, give it for the against purchase. Suppose I get an order for 10 lakhs rupees, you give me 5 lakhs rupees, which will be returned to you on the execution of order.
But practically, suppose COC ने fund नहीं किया है, how we have handled this situation?
Sir, even we bring sometime, interim financer को किसी को हम लोग, by showing them कि भाई this much is the asset, so definitely your money is not going to waste. तो बोलता है he get ready, okay, 18% से दे रहा है तो मुझे ठीक है, चलो रिस्क मनी है, I am ready to give. तो बोलते हैं 18% इंटरेस्ट नहीं चाहिए, then COC again is reluctant to even grant the interim finance proposal also.
Interim finance is always an issue. Okay. How you deal with in case to case basis, वो आपको ही देखना रहेगा, उसमें कोई standard formula चलना
नहीं, direct interim finance नहीं मिलेगा, but if you can find raw material supplier and then you keep his markup, okay, I will convert it, I will sell it to you, you keep your margin, pay me. So in that way, if you do, then I don't think COC will have any objection. Okay, they don't know. They don't know what is the market.
But as an RP, if COC is objecting to any, because see, this is basically a business risk.
Business risk.
Is a business risk. I should not take any risk as a resolution professional if objected by COC.
COC, because there are so many channels above him to take that decision of providing interim finance, it is not going to happen.
This is again that is the point we are discussing, bankers' viewpoint. Now the thing is that if I have funded 1,000 crore and today we are talking about value of 100 crore, right? For you, your benchmark is 100 crore. You says if I keep this unit as a going concern, I will recover 120 crore. There is 20% appreciation and only 1 crore cost. Why you are not funding? And if it is stopped, then I will recover 90 crore, less than 100 crore. Your benchmark is 100 crore, but banker's benchmark is 1,000 crore. वो बोलता है I have already lost 900 crore in this. और अगर 10 crore इसमें और लॉस हो गया तो क्या फर्क पड़ने वाला? If I take a decision, I will have to justify. So in case you have able to put up your case properly and convince COC, because I, as a RP, if I do something beyond the consent of COC and tomorrow it boomerang on me, I will be held responsible. But if COC has not agreed, I should record it properly that I have put up these points. COC has not agreed. That is why this situation has come. Ultimately, देखो मेरे को अपनी जेब से तो दे नहीं सकता मैं. वो देगा तभी गोइंग कंसर्न यूनिट चलेगा. इवन द सिक्योरिटी गार्ड का पैसा भी कई बार अगर नहीं देता है तो क्या कर सकते हैं आप? 10 की बजाय 5 सिक्योरिटी गार्ड रखो, नहीं रखो, उसके बाद अगर वो ले जाए, बट आई हैव टू पुट इट रिकॉर्ड इन COC दैट आई रिक्वेस्टेड फॉर इट, आई जस्टिफाइड इट. उसके बाद भी अगर COC नहीं मानता है कि भाई, बिकॉज सी ऑल द बैंकर्स डोंट हैव द सेम सेट ऑफ माइंड. 4 में से 3 मान जाएंगे, 1 नहीं मानेगा. तो अल्टीमेटली एज ए RP, my job is to convince COC. If I am not able to convince COC, I should not take unnecessarily business risk.
And record it multiple times.
Record it multiple times.
Sir, going concern में if unit is operating at operating loss, CIRP बोलेगा why you are incurring loss. इसमें क्या करना है?
हाँ, तो आपको क्या है, आपको इसमें बताना है कि अगर ये यूनिट सपोज कई इंडस्ट्रीज है जिसको आप उसको दोबारा स्टार्ट करने जाओगे तो यू विल हैव टू इनकर ए ह्यूज कॉस्ट. You have this justification available with you, और आपके पास कोई ऐसा मटेरियल व्यूज है आपके पास कि यू कैन से कि अगर ये यूनिट बंद, कुछ यूनिट है इज गोइंग एज ए गोइंग कंसर्न, अभी जो आएगा वो चला लेगा, इसको रिवाइव कर लेगा, उसमें मैं ऑपरेटिंग लॉस क्यों करूं? अभी 6 महीने के लिए या 8 महीने के लिए, 1 साल के लिए, अगर एवरी मंथ देयर इज a 2-3 crores ऑफ ऑपरेटिंग लॉस, इट वर्क्स आउट टू 40 crores ऑफ रुपीज. हालांकि if the unit is running, I feel that it may realize better value. Whether it realizes or not, it is immaterial.
You can't say today.
I cannot say today. So I will put my point to them कि भाई
नहीं होता है ना, उसका कोई आंसर नहीं है. आज के दिन में पक्का आंसर नहीं है. नहीं. Second thing, what happened? If your unit is closed down now, the risk of theft is increased 10 times. अगर जो यूनिट है उधर 4 आदमी आते हैं ना तो चोरी नहीं होती है, दिन रात आदमी रहते हैं. और अगर यूनिट पे आदमी ही नहीं है तो 3 दिन में वो साफ हो जाएगा यूनिट.
अभी सर एक नया ट्रेंड चला है, एप्लीकेशन एडमिट होने के बाद सब एनक्लेव में चले जाते हैं. फिर उसमें 2-3 महीने चले जाते हैं, 4 महीने चले जाते हैं, इन बिटवीन कुछ इंटरिम फाइनेंस वगैरह का तो डिस्कस ही नहीं होता, और यूनिट इज रनिंग एंड इट इज ऑपरेटिंग लॉस टू हैंडल दिस सिचुएशन।
अगर तो देखो
भी रहता है, फिर आपको सीओसी के ऊपर भी स्टे रहेगा, तो यू आर नॉट इन अ पोजीशन टू फॉर्म सीओसी और यू आर नॉट इन अ पोजीशन टू कॉल सीओसी मीटिंग आल्सो।
कॉल सीओसी नहीं, लेकिन प्रॉब्लम ये आता है, सीआरपी तो चालू है, सीआरपी इज नॉट कॉल्ड, मतलब चलाएगा इसे, सीओसी बना नहीं, सीओसी पैसा देगा नहीं, एप्लीकेंट का रिस्पांसिबिलिटी फर्स्ट मंथ से ज्यादा है नहीं, और उसमें भी उसका आईपी फीस और एडवर्टाइजमेंट, these are the only two costs he is bound to give. Other than that,
और अगर अपन हमारे केस में हुआ है 12A फाइल किया, उसे 2 महीने का पैसा लिया, विड्रॉ करने के लिए
सब मिलेगा उसको।
नहीं 12A में भी 2 महीने का पैसा लोगे ना एडवांस, और कितना लोगे?
12A में सब चलता है, 12A में आपको मिलेगा, स्टे आया है
2 साल से, कितना साल से?
2 साल चला
क्या
12A विड्रॉ, 2 महीने का पैसा लिया उसे, अभी कोई पैसा ही नहीं दे रहा है।
अच्छा, सेकेंडरी एनक्लेव ने सीआरपी पे स्टे लगा,
सीआरपी स्टे आ गया तो बात अलग होगी ना, तो आपका काम करना
नहीं स्टे आ गया तो यू आर नॉट आउट ऑफ दैट।
नहीं, बट यू आर नॉट टू रन सीआरपी has stayed means you cannot run the show.
नहीं, you can,
the management is not suspended.
नहीं सीओसी फॉर नहीं, सीआरपी स्टे नहीं होता है, सीओसी फॉर्मेशन स्टे होता है।
सीआरपी स्टे हुआ है काफी सारे केस में।
सीआरपी स्टे,
तो उसमें क्या पावर, यू आर कंटिन्यूइंग एज आरपी?
No, you cannot.
No, to give it back. तो पूरा पावर
is no longer there.
तो फिर वो बाद में ऑर्डर रिवोक हो जाएगा, तो फिर वापस आ गया।
हाँ,
वो INC 28 फाइल करना पड़ेगा फिर उसको विड्रॉल का।
Yes.
मतलब जब वो स्टे आ गया तो सीआरपी का,
Yes.
फिर तो सब कुछ इस सिग्नेटरी वगैरह सब चेंज
सब वही हो जाएगा वापस।
अभी क्या है सर, जो केसेस अभी रिसेंटली एडमिट हो रहे हैं, जो अभी जो केसेस एडमिट हो रहे हैं, 21 वाले सब पेंडिंग वाले केस एडमिट हो रहे हैं, और सारे ये अनक्लेट में जाके रुक रहे हैं कि सबको सेटल ही करना है, क्योंकि एवरीवन रियलाइज कि लंबा चलेगा, वैल्यूएशन कम आता है, तो इवन एफसी इज आल्सो इंटरेस्टेड इन दैट।
नहीं
सर, इट्स हैपनिंग इन मेनी केसेस विद द एफसी इज आल्सो गिविंग देम टाइम ऑन वन डेट टू नेक्स्ट डेट, इन बिटवीन देयर सेटलमेंट इज गोइंग ऑन।
प्री एडमिशन ना वो तो
नहीं, आफ्टर एडमिशन आल्सो डूइंग ना,
एंकलेट से स्टे आने के बाद, एंकलेट से फॉर्मेशन ऑफ सीओपी स्टे लाता है, फिर नेगोशिएशन चालू होता है, फिर 12A में विड्रॉल होता है, 12A में विड्रॉल होने के बाद वो स्टे का खत्म हो गया स्टडी वैसा।
तो इसमें 2-3 महीने खराब हो जाते हैं, इन बिटवीन देयर इज नो मनी विद द।
ये प्रॉब्लम कहाँ आता है, जब पीएसयू बैंक या ओसी ने फाइल कर दिया हो ना, और सीओसी मेंबर में 1 या 2 एआरसी है, ये होना ही नहीं।
1 और 2
1 या 2 एआरसी है, तो ये होना ही है। एआरसी आजकल यही ज्ञान बांट रही है, मैं सेटल कर दूंगा 12A में, स्टे लेके आ गया, फिर एआरसी एक करके एक्विजिशन करती है, तो मेंबर से कि स्टे है, अब आपको देते जाओ,
एआरसी अपना पोर्टफोलियो बढ़ाती है
90%, उसके बाद आता है, फिर वो सेटल करती है।
तो इसमें सर गोइंग कंसर्न कैसे मेंटेन होएगा?
नो, देखो क्या है, मैं as we initially discussed that all the pillars individually don't have the entire power. I have to appreciate that as a resolution professional, what is my authority and what is my limitations. Now, अगर आपके पास now COC is not formed, no funding is available to you, the only way for you to run is with the funds available with the corporate debtor. If it is there,
well and good.
Good. If it is not there, so long as it is there, you run it. Beyond that, there is no point in running the unit and incurring operating losses without the support of COC.
Sir, I will give you a practical example of this. The second point, keeping the corporate data as a going concern. Now, your appointment is made on say fag end of the month. Okay. Now the entire month's salary is pending. Now it is not borrowing about of CIRP cost. So what you have to say to the employee? Ultimately, employees are also working for the salary. Similar to me, my critical supplies are there, or my licenses, certain licenses are there. Unless I pay that, in the scenario of air cargo business, if you are not in a position to pay the earlier bills to the cargo operators or the cargo handlers, you are not in a position to carry out any further business with them, and you will be blacklisted. Your company will be closed. So unless you pay the earlier bills and all this thing has been smoothly going, there is a problem.
See,
So
this case was there na.
things are there.
Abhi wo koi tha.
Some other problem are also happening, sir.
No, there was a disciplinary case. See,
based on the advance from the customer. If advance came before the CRP, then how you will supply against that advance?
There was a recent case of two similar case. One is Mehta apna in Pratibha Industries,
5 days before they gave.
and one in the case of Goa Thakurka in Videocon Group, where some amount nominal 5 lakhs, 10 lakhs was paid for the previous thing to safeguard the business. But they were penalized. 3-4 lakh रुपया penalized करके छोड़ा है उनको. IBBI ने. How you can pay previous penalty?
सिंपल रास्ता बताओ. बराबर. जिसका पहले का पेमेंट है और आपको चलाना ही है, and you don't have any option, बराबर है. IBBI बोलता है नहीं देने का, उसको बोलो तेरा
क्लेम दे.
बराबर. उसका क्लेम आप ले लो, क्लेम एक्सेप्ट कर सकते हो. So you are not making any prepayment now. उसको एडवांस दे ही सकते हो ना.
फ्यूचर का एडवांस दे दो ऑर्डर का.
उसको बोलो मैं एडवांस दे रहा हूँ, तेरे को 100 रुपए का तेरा क्लेम है, 100 रुपए तेरे को चाहिए ना, मैं 100 रुपया देता हूँ,
लेकिन एडवांस करके दे.
इट इज एडवांस.
एडवांस विद क्रेडिट में ना.
हाँ, लेकिन उसके सामने कुछ माल भी लाना चाहिए ना, ऐसे पॉकेट में एडवांस थोड़ी.
तो सर उसमें हमेशा कैसा रहता है, वो बोलता है पहले का पैसा नहीं आया इसलिए मैं आगे सप्लाई नहीं करता हूँ.
आगे का पैसा दे रहा हूँ.
आगे का पैसा नहीं, मैं पुराना वाला पैसा ही तेरे को दे रहा हूँ.
लेकिन नहीं, अगर मेरे को आगे ऑर्डर नहीं दिया तो आप एडवांस कैसे दे सकते हो? आगे ऑर्डर नहीं दिया तो क्या क्या एडवांस दे रहे हो?
अच्छा, मैं दूंगा ना ऑर्डर, तो मैं उसको पैसे ही तो दूंगा. अगर पूरा ऐसा आगे का काम ही नहीं करना है उसके साथ.
स्नेहल भाई, वो तो एडवांस आपने पहले का दिया, अभी का सप्लाई का मुझे बाकी एडवांस दो. अभी नाउ आई कैन नॉट मेक यू अल्टीमेटली मेरे को एडवांस से करना है, मतलब डबल एडवांस देना पड़ेगा उसको.
डबल नहीं दे सकते.
वही तो हो गया ना. आपको 100 रुपए का माल का पहला आउटस्टैंडिंग है, अभी आपको 100 रुपए का और माल चाहिए तो बोलेगा मुझे 200 रुपया दो.
आज का एडवांस दे दो.
हाँ, मेरे वो 100 रुपए पहले वाला दो. 200
ये भी प्रॉब्लम होता है कि लिक्विडिटी नहीं, आज के एडवांस देने की भी पोजीशन नहीं रहती है.
हाँ,
वो केस नहीं, आई एम टॉकिंग सिंपल केस वेयर यू हैव मनी, यू वांट टू पे हिम so that the supply is uninterrupted. Okay, you call the claim of the pre-CRP period, and whatever is that pre-CRP amount, वो like you pay him as advance. I say you but now you give, तुम अभी जो सप्लाई कर रहे हो तो CRP कॉस्ट ही है, वो तो मिलना ही है ना तेरे को. बराबर है. So he will supply you the goods. You have given the old money as an advance. At the end,
you have given new. नहीं ऐसा बोलो.
Clearly बोल के करना है. आप उसको बोला कि मैं 100 रुपया दे रहा हूँ तो वो पुराने में एडजस्ट नहीं कर सकता.
नहीं, उसको बोल के करना है कि ये मैं वो ठीक है, वो मैं नहीं दे सकता हूँ, लॉ लिमिटेशंस है, मैं तेरे को आगे का पैसा एडवांस दे रहा हूँ.
तेरे को मैं मेरा पीरियड का देता हूँ तो सप्लाई का, और तेरा आगे का क्लेम आएगा, वो कोर्ट का ऑर्डर आएगा, वैसे तेरे को पे करेगा.
सप्लायर टू बिजनेसमैन है, समझ जाते हैं. एम्प्लॉइज का प्रॉब्लम
नहीं सर, एक दूसरा प्रॉब्लम हो रहा है. कस्टमर ने एडवांस दिया है, डेटर्स ने एडवांस दिया है, एडवांस आता है फिर 15 दिन बाद माल जाता है, उसका क्या करेंगे? CRP पीरियड से पहले एडवांस आया, तो उसका क्लेम कैसे लेंगे? और इट विल बी ट्रीटेड ऑपरेशनल क्रेडिटर और फाइनेंशियल?
नहीं, वो तो ऑफिशियल क्रेडिटर ही हुआ ना.
उसने एडवांस दिया है,
सामान संभाला,
और मैंने वो एडवांस से मटेरियल भी बना के रख लिया. CRP पीरियड के बाद बना, तो वो मटेरियल मैं उसको सप्लाई कर सकता हूँ?
सप्लाई तो कर सकते हो, मटेरियल सप्लाई का क्या इशू?
वो फिर उधारी में जाएगा ना, और वो उसका पैसा थोड़ी देगा.
सर कॉन्ट्रैक्ट जो भी आप रेंटल एग्रीमेंट पे ऑफिस ले रहे हो,
नहीं रेंट करिए सर, सप्लाई परचेज.
सर मैं वही बता रहा हूँ आपको, सिंपल आप वो कॉन्सेप्ट से ले लो ना, उसमें आधे महीने का रेंट फ्री है, आधे महीने का बाद का है. बराबर है. सेम वे आपका ये कॉन्ट्रैक्ट, आपने डेटर का कॉन्ट्रैक्ट हुआ आपका, उसने आपको 25 रुपए एडवांस दिया, 100 रुपए का कॉन्ट्रैक्ट था आपका सप्लाई का, 25 एडवांस दिया, 75 और उसको देना है आपको गुड सप्लाई करने के थ्रू भी टर्म्स पे, तो आप गुड सप्लाई करने के बाद 75 आएगा बेसिकली. तो आपका कहना है कि वो 75 जो है मैं क्रेडिट पे बेच रहा हूँ उसको. यू आर ऑनरिंग द कॉन्ट्रैक्ट विच इज एग्जिस्टेंट. आइदर यू कैंसिल द कॉन्ट्रैक्ट. If you cancel the contract, then it will stand as a creditor, supplier of goods.
Problem is that ICD date is there is a cut-off date, moratorium. आज किसी ने 25% या 50%, सपोज 100% भी एडवांस दिया, और उसका मैंने बाद में मटेरियल भी बना दिया आफ्टर ICD date. Can I supply that material against the earlier payment?
Yes, why not?
Why? Because on ICD
No, he
rate,
cannot.
everyone money is under
He
claim.
cannot.
He can.
He cannot.
और अभी से मेरा going concern रुक गया. I am not getting recurring advance.
Just a minute. Actually क्या है कि आप you have entered into contract. उसने आपको एडवांस दे दिया 100 रुपए का. मटेरियल आपके पास रेडी हो गया. In between IP हो गया. Now as per law, whatever is dues up to the CIRP date, that is an operational creditor, and that will be settled as per direction of resolution plan, right? Now उसके बाद जो मटेरियल अगर आपने सप्लाई किया तो he will be your debtor. It is recoverable.
वो डेटर का पैसा देगा नहीं
अभी देखो क्या है. नो
तो एडवांस दे चुका है ना.
नहीं वो बराबर है.
वो डेट पे कट हो गया ना, वो डेट पे फ्रीज हो गया वो सब.
I differ in the view because contract है सर, कोई भी substantial contract, IRP has a right to change the contract. आप जो बोल रहे हो ये कॉन्ट्रैक्ट है. सेल परचेस का आप जो बोल रहे हो मैंने एडवांस किया, इट इज अ कॉन्ट्रैक्चुअल ऑब्लिगेशन अंडर कॉन्ट्रैक्ट.
कॉन्ट्रैक्ट होता ही नहीं ना राइटिंग में.
नहीं कॉन्ट्रैक्ट तो फिर बायर के साथ भी है, एम्प्लॉय के साथ
वर्बल ओरल भी कॉन्ट्रैक्ट ही है ना. वो तो
कॉन्ट्रैक्ट आल्सो.
सेल्स बीइंग डन इज अ कॉन्ट्रैक्ट. तो उसके सामने एडवांस आया है तो ठीक है, वो फ्रीज हुआ, मैंने एडवांस लिया, मेरे पास एडवांस पड़ा है ना, तो उसके सामने सप्लाई करना है मेरे को.
ये तो सर वेंडर का भी कॉन्ट्रैक्ट है ना, सप्लाई सेल परचेज का. वेंडर ही बोलेगा मैंने परचेज ऑर्डर में कॉन्ट्रैक्ट में सप्लाई उसके अगेंस्ट में किया.
पार्टी सर आ रहे हैं
कॉन्ट्रैक्ट उसके अगेंस्ट में वेंडर.
चेयरमैन सर आ रहे हैं.
उसमें एक प्रॉब्लम और आ रही है, अगर उसको सप्लाई नहीं करे तो फ्यूचर रिकरिंग एडवांस नहीं आएंगे. आज टुडे दैट सीडी इज वर्किंग ऑन नेगेटिव वर्किंग कैपिटल.
और आपको कोई याद कर रहा है. सर आ रहे हैं.
सीट खाली करनी पड़ेगी. आप तो इधर ही रहो.
हाँ आप इधर ही रहो, इधर बोला.
आइए
इधर कर देते.
नहीं आप रहे हो, आप रहे. या इधर आ जाइए. वो शिफ्ट होएगा क्या?
चेयरमैन
चाय पीजिए.
एक्चुअली हाँ, अभी इसमें जो आपकी प्रॉब्लम है ना, इसमें फाइन legal and technical issues are involved, right? Now as a commercial person, if you take a decision in good faith, both ways, either you want to you supply the goods and make him a debtor, और उसका आप claim रख लो. If a unit is good resolution, applicant is available, और उसके बाद उसका resolution हो जाता है, all this problem will become very minimal. But अगर कल को इसका कोई resolution नहीं होता है and some stakeholder raises an issue, all these things, so the thing is justification based on what thinking you have taken a decision. It is better to record in the first COC meeting. Okay, these are the consideration for which I have taken these decisions, and this is how it is going to go.
And get it ratified by
the COC, because it can have both ways interpretations.
The only solution was coming in my mind to supply against credit. Debtor, then debtor will be there. The debtor will never recover.
Then it is better that you say that consideration post CIRP, as साहब ने बोला है कि भी ये contractual obligation है. Contractual obligation में you have to supply the material and consideration is zero. You honor the contractual obligation.
आपकी वो फ्रीज हो जाता है, एडवांस दिया है वो नहीं कर सकता है. आप सिंपल पॉइंट है सर, आप बैंक गारंटी से बराबर है. What is bank guarantee? Only in that time it is evoked, it has to be added to the loan amount. आप CRP स्टार्ट होता है तो क्या सब बैंक गारंटी बुक कर देता है? वो नहीं ना, जब वो टिकअप होता है तब वो होता है. So that bank guarantee is contingent. Same with this amount, what has been paid is on the same lines. It is a contract that you have entered for supply of goods and you have given the advance. So you cannot say कि ये advance है तो ये freeze हो गया, अभी मैं supply goods के लिए वापस पैसा दूँ. It is illogical. You have to adjust that advances which is given. Against that, supply has to be made. Contract gets over. In case you don't do that, then there is a liability additional that is going to happen to you. क्योंकि जिसने पैसे दिए है वो अपना क्लेम फाइल करेगा. Why you want additional claims?
इसमें एक चीज ये भी हो सकती है कि tomorrow somebody may raise a question कि this is a deliberate attempt because उसका claim जो फाइल किया up to CIRP period अगर आपने goods दे दिया उसका claim is nil now. उसका claim is nil. Suppose he has given you नहीं उसने अगर claim दिया है तो आपने गुड्स उसका बाद में
जीरो हो जाएगा.
हाँ तो इसीलिए बेटर सी इंटरप्रिटेशन विल डिपेंड अपॉन द इवेंट्स हैपनिंग सब्सिक्वेंट टू दिस व्हेन यू मे नॉट बी ए पार्ट ऑफ दैट. तो इट इज बेटर जो भी आपका थिंकिंग है उसको आप ट्रांसपेरेंट वे में यू गेट इट रिकॉर्डेड इन द सीओसी.
नहीं उसमें क्या होता है सर, एक प्रॉब्लम हो रहा है रनिंग कंपनी में. दिस नॉट वन एडवांस, यू गो टू एडवांस फ्रॉम द मेनी पार्टी, देन यू हैव टू गिव द सेम ट्रीटमेंट टू ऑल द पार्टी. यू कांट डू पिक एंड चूज.
Then you have to see as a matter of fact you have to take a call and you have to get your decision recorded. It will depend upon the circumstances. ना pick and choose नहीं हो सकता. Pick and choose नहीं हो सकता.
आपके पास जिसका मटेरियल रेडी है
हाँ.
वो आप पे कर दे रहे हो
हाँ.
और वो कंप्लीट करके दे रहे हो.
हाँ.
This is what you as a RP you have to maximize the value.
Correct.
So to do that अगर ये नहीं करता हूँ तो मेरा और क्लेम आएगा. Where is maximize? I'm reducing the value.
So I आएगा और मेरा बिजनेस ही बंद हो जाएगा.
और सपोज another situation I'm telling you, आपने किसी को कस्टम मेड प्रोडक्ट बनाया है, आपने एडवांस लिया है, किसी और में बेच ही नहीं सकता हूँ, मेरा वैल्यू जीरो है, तो आइदर आई डू जीरो वैल्यू या मैं इसको दे दूं
या जीरो वैल्यू और मेरा बिजनेस कंटिन्यूटी रखो.
If it is a general product, if it is a general product which is readily saleable in the market,
It is make to order product, then utilization will be very less.
yes, if it is a general product, then as an RP my decision should be भाई आपका जो एडवांस आया उसको आप ऑपरेशनल क्रेडिटर करो, आपको माल लेना है तो either you become debtor and pay me or I am selling to somebody else.
Yeah, but then goodwill and business everything will go for a toss.
Business is impacting.
Business will impact.
Actually
our section 14 is stopping us. That is saying if you are doing any payment on the cut of that, then you are doing the violation.
why should I do the violation?
हाँ तो moratorium हो गया ना. Other any payment you are doing, then that person who is doing is also liable, na? Is subject to prosecution also.
Correct. Now the thing is that if I am adjusting that advance and supplying the goods, it is an exceptional event. That exceptional event must be justified. कि भाई इसका कोई alternative sale नहीं है, कोई और कोई इसको लेना नहीं है, इसके मिस्टर ए के लिए बनाया था, ए के अलावा इसका और कोई कस्टमर नहीं.
अगर NCLT में application लगाया, can that A can give the direction?
You can try.
NCLT का बात नहीं है. IBPA always for the, even though it is a part of COC, justified properly. Did IBPA say कि this is against the law? Where it is?
That's the law. There's the section 14 is coming ना.
वो तो वही हुआ ना. See in that मेहता का एक order था ना, this Pratibha Industries. He had paid some amount to the contractor because to keep the contract running. वो EPC contract था ना. Anil Mehta. There is penalized 5 lakh rupees.
You are getting advance payment. In between your GST liability also come in picture. Authority saying you collected the money. Why I should go in the consortium? Moratorium. You pay, you collected, you paid. I can't pay it. But the moratorium is there. So many issues.
Many issues.
14 is the Lakshman Rekha.
बिल्कुल सही बात है. And as a general rule, whatever the payment has been received till date of cutoff, it is a claim. It cannot be adjusted against the future supplies. But if you have to take an exception to this rule,
then second exception is coming that tax liability also. You collected the money.
Agreed. As a professional, I have to make a comparison.
Yes.
Which way is better, and if I am doing something except either I get it ratified in the COC. If you think that the matter is too serious, then you have to go to NCLT to get an order.
Yes, sir. COC got ratification. There is no question is coming to us.
Then there is no need for you to do anything. Now, let the status quo be maintained. Why should I become owner of the unit? I am a resolution professional providing service within my limitation. I am not the owner. अगर status quo is maintained and if you have requested everybody, you have put a application to NCLT, वहां से decision नहीं आया, आपने COC को बोल दिया, उसको decision नहीं आया, and tomorrow that loss हो, अगर unit का, can somebody charge me कि भी आपने whatever within my reach?
Yes, sir. That means also RP will charge because you are RP of the unit and it is your duty to protect the assets of the company. How can you depend upon the court's order? Court may take its own sweet time. So you are RP and it is your duty bound. So far as you are RP of the company, you are duty bound to protect the assets of the company.
But
You
within
cannot say, no, I went
within my resources, na? Yes, sir.
Arpit Kabra.
Sir, we welcome our young chairman, Mr. Arpit Kabra.
Yes. Sir, namaskar.
Yeah.
Morning.
Morning, MSME meeting.
Acha, you were there in MSME?
I was also there.
Acha, yes. Good, you've taken best of today.
Good day.
I think. Good day.
Yes, sir.
Sir.
Today, this was the first meeting of this current year, which Arpit sir allowed us to conduct. Actually, our tenure ends at 31st March. वो IBC जैसा हो गया, insolvency commencement जैसा. Advance paid last year is being utilized in current year, the topic which we are discussing.
But you introduce our chairman to him because otherwise he will think ये तो कोई अपना hero आ गया फिल्म में.
नहीं, we know him.
We should have one strategy. Every chairman should be IP also. Encourage him to become IP. So that he will get more support.
Yes.
He is our young chairman, Mr. Arpit Kabra.
Rather youngest.
Youngest.
Such a young.
And
He's out from college actually.
Yeah.
He's just out from the college.
and बस और तो
we wish him all the
success.
Yeah, all the
I think you have
success in his
taken
tenure
the charge
as a
on
chairperson.
25th February.
Correct.
So 1 month over.
Just run 1 month, yes.
Huh?
Yes, we just completed 1 month.
1 month.
How is being your experience? In this?
Yes, exactly. So thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. And I see some people online also. How many of they are there?
Right,
7 more
7.
people. Okay.
Yeah.
So I think who's the convener? You are the convener, right? Iman, okay. Iman bhai is the convener. All right. So thank you, Iman bhai, for inviting us here. And I think I know all of you here, people online. So it's a matter of good pride moment actually to be amongst all of you. I think to the faculty today, Setia sir, welcome to this meeting. This would have been happened earlier, and of course, due to some circumstances, they've done it today. So it's sort of a farewell to the convener. I think a huge round of applause for Hemant bhai for having done a year round of activities. A full year round of activities that you've done, sir. I think commendable job. Takes a lot to organize people, get them come on a platform, work, and try and understand, try and even put up your discussions and everything. So I think really hats off. Given that I've come from 25th Feb till date, I think we've done a lot of work already, a lot of initiatives that we've taken in space of innovations. So bank audit books, if you'll see our bank audit book, I think it's now from a 300-page audit book, now it's around 70 pages now. Because everything we have put up, yes, it's
Best use
crisper.
of technology.
Yes, it's crisper, it's leaner, and what I've done is I've put up everything up on a cloud, and I've given a QR code. Now, for example, if you go tomorrow and say on Monday, there is an important circular that has come in. Now, that is not part of the book that you have, but what will happen is the moment you scan the QR code, you will be able to find that resolution, that circular, that notification, everything on there.
Good.
So real-time basis, this book is a real-time update for everything. Plus, you get the literature, the best of literature, the best of legacy, compilation, and explanation is there. So someone wants to read it, lucid language is there. You can read it. And now if you want to update it with the latest one, scan it and you're there. So you can merge both of them. So LFR, for example, we did a presentation in one of a very big firm here for the staff and for chartered accountants there. I think 120 people were there in a office. No presentation or nothing, direct book was given. So they purchased all the books. We went there, and when we were talking about LFR, So everyone scanned it. They were there in front of them in a laptop, or the best is their hardware. So everyone has a good hardware now.
Good.
We, however capable we are, we have our hardwares. So I think why then we have to invest in the hardware? Why do we have these assets then? We have our own laptops, everything. So that is what we've enabled, that if it is somewhere in this ecosystem, it should be with you. So now going forward, what we are also targeting is this book will also be helpful for forensics, for proof transactions or the transaction audits. So all the FAIs is there. Anything that will come up. So now just yesterday, the day before yesterday, there's a Center of Audit Quality checklist which has come. It's up there. So I don't need to send WhatsApps, and I don't need, so anyone who's working wants a checklist, scan it, you will find the checklist up there, download it, and you will start using it. So you don't have to register, you don't have to use a PDF or converter or whatever. Real sense of copies there. Good. So you can actually start consuming it. Very good. So that is one of the innovations we've done. The other part is what we have also done is interestingly, we had young chartered accountants is a very big challenge to bring them CP programs. So they don't usually come. We had a first ever event, was a cricket tournament, box cricket tournament, 60 teams.
60 teams.
60 teams. 600 chartered accountants playing on one day from morning 8 a.m. till midnight. 12:30 is the final closure of our trophy and everything. What a sight it was at Andheri Sports Club. All the fighters all playing together. 5 women teams also. So the best part was, just like as you see IPL and all of these, you see scorecards on the screen. So everything is online. All these matches, you could view them on YouTube live, and the scoring was done electronically. So no manual scorekeeping, no nothing. Everything embedded in technology. We also started networking zone. So that networking zone is going on. All of that. Also, you must have seen we have come out with a newsletter now, e-newsletter. It's a revamped, fresh, new look, and full of innovations now, this newsletter. And this newsletter will also work as one window, one-stop solution for all activities that we are doing at WRC. There is a networking zone that we are starting now. So suppose if someone needs a chartered accountant, someone needs a resource, say for any specialization, for any special purpose, like say bank audits, say company audits, or say for any audits, all he has to do is go and list in that space. This newsletter goes far and wide. So someone from Ratnagiri or a Satara or a Latur or a Nanded or a Solapur, any young chartered accountant who wants to, then he will approach you. Sir, I want to grab this opportunity, work with you, learn with you. He'll come here, work with you. If you like it, you continue, you don't, move ahead. But there will be absolute networking then. Good. Very good. Networking platform. Very good. So we are trying to build that. Of course, we are not investing very heavily into a platform app or something like that, because we never know. It's a trial and error thing. So we're still trying it. But yes, this is one thing that we are trying it now. Very soon we'll find that up. So the newsletter is
it's available on the net, or how?
Yeah, it's in your inbox. You will get an email saying the link of newsletter is here.
It is there available.
Yeah, but it is now. So earlier, when the newsletter was here, you could only read a chairman message. But now it's a wonderful interface that we've developed. So you can go through different pages. For example, events now. You can go to the forthcoming events. You'll see all the events. You can from there view the brochures of those events and also click there and register it then and there. So it's more like an app function through a newsletter. Good. Then also networking, I told you, and then we've started something called as miscellaneous section, which is we are reaching out for. So we want to set up office automation desk. Office automation desk is something like chartered accountants are here. You can reach out to them, tell them that we want to automate some stuff in our offices. So they'll help you with small little nuances. So ROC, income tax, whatever. Help you with software identification, improvise efficiency of your offices. So one desk, some dedicated chartered accountants will be working for this. WRC is setting up that desk. Of course, there'll be a professional fees, whatever there'll be, but that will be amongst them. Only if you find value. We've already done that on a pilot basis. I think we are working with around 13, 14 firms. We've done excellently. We've got amazing results there. It's pure Excel, Power Query at play, and use of good softwares, be it Office Manager, whatever. So that is what we are doing. One. And there is my role at WRC. We have invited people who want to be speakers, who want to be coordinators, who want to be MOCs. We've got more than 600 entries. Now we'll start calling them up. Because otherwise, we never know who is interested in doing what. So it's more like a volunteer services. I think all of us here are volunteers. Yeah. So we want to bring out how many of them would want to come. So that is what. So everything is happening through this unique platform called the newsletter. So one innovation, and it's serving so many purposes for us. So I think that is what we want to do. So we are entering into the 75th year at ISCI. This is the Amrit Kal, if I were to say that. So we want to do something really incredible so that we all have the fruits and we enjoy the benefits of whatever we do. Now coming to IBC, I think I've just come from Praveen Gandhi Law College, wherein we had an IBC moot court.
Okay.
Fantastic. What arguments. We had to advocate who are the judges who are playing the role of a judge. Some Manan Sanghia, Manan Sanghai, and there's one other gentleman, that name. They were there, and they were college students. Then there were some, I think, resolution professionals were there also. That is what I understand, or maybe some office people, or I don't know. They were having a very good discussion about, say, NCLT cases, this, that, and that. It was a wonderful thing. So I think moot court is something we want to develop.
You can do it here also.
So that is what. So therefore, since this is relevant space, IBC, I would suggest if you ever want to do this, we can tie up with some colleges, get you all there. What?
You can do that for RERA.
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely.
Tax also.
RERA, taxes. Tax too, we do it anyways.
Moot court.
Moot courts are happening.
Moot courts.
We do a lot of moot courts. WRC does a lot of moot courts. Only see, that is the point, how do we create an awareness about it? I think.
Yeah.
So this newsletter, I'm hopeful that this newsletter will really speak volumes about whatever we do. There's so much of activity that we do around the year. Forget the round the year. I'm just talking about 1 month. I can go on and on. So many activities which are already done. But
Cooperative can do cooperative court.
I'm not aware about that. But yes, we should do that. Yes. So moot courts, we do a lot of moot courts, and if you all so may like, we can do that in one of these colleges.
Yes.
More than happy. Sir.
I have 3 observations.
Sir.
Number 1, along with Ambedkar, now we have got Arpit Kal.
And one observation, you complete.
Secondly,
Arpan karna. You have dedicated yourself to something.
Secondly, without your permission,
Sir.
I had shown this booklet for audit to our general committee meeting where I am a member. And I had shown this QR code.
Correct.
Okay, you better have some coordination, some synchronization with WRC. And because there also our major problem today is very high cost of printing.
It's too much.
So here we can reduce it. And one more request.
Sir.
This is, please don't get offended.
Okay.
I have been contributing to WRC magazine since last almost 20 years. But since last 3-4 years, we are not recognized.
Okay.
We feel disheartened.
So contributors as in
WRC reference.
the reference manual.
Yeah.
Sir, I don't know if you are aware or not. We have invited you all for a dinner very soon. You will be, because the dates is what is clashing. So bank audit season and all, but people who have been so ever, and you're right.
My request to you is, if you can have a separate gathering.
Yes.
For today's contributor and tomorrow's contributors also.
What is tomorrow's contributor?
Likely.
No, sir. What we want to do is reference manual work is about to start now, because we do it for DTRC purpose in June and all, we launch it. So for the first time ever, we're deciding to call all the contributors here in WRC. We want to have a brainstorming session. Again, the idea is, what can we do with this book? This publication also. Believe me, it's one of those most sought after publications, but I've got some ideas. We're going to do something amazing there as well. So therefore, I want to invite all of the contributors. Let's work around.
There also that CD concepts would be.
Yeah, clearly.
Because now, where you are going to play that CD?
Clearly, yeah. Absolutely right. Absolutely, you're right. And pen drives are costly, so we want to do something else.
You put it on the website, something.
But then that will be free. But that would be free, no? So everyone gets it.
No, it's with the QR code or something like that.
So we are doing something. Sir.
Some coding or something like that, so that you can access.
So then the charm goes away of printing that book. See, we are not for profit. We cannot actually incur a cost. So, but for a PR activity, for for many senior citizens, for many people, they want this book in hand. For example, today when I carried this book to these people. The principal of this law college, one of the trustees of the law college, they were in awe that we have seen for all these acts, we have seen these big books. How have you come concise it to just this much? And they were amazed with that book. So much so that they have asked me literally to pen down a note for them and sign it off and give it to them because they want to keep it as a memoir. So when people at that stature, so it's because of each one of you. The quality of this manual is what drives this importance, right? It's not that I am there. So I think, but don't worry, sir.
No, I'm sure about it.
We are doing that. So we're doing that. But yes, we need a lot of more feedbacks. I think I know all of you. Snail Bhai is here, Sir is here. So if at all you feel and you believe that anything else that is required from our end, more than happy. I'm always here. I think I've not taken a single day leave so far. I'm here above 8th floor only, 10 to 10. So you can let me know. Sorry. So anytime I'm available, you can just come drop by. Usually I try and meet, if it's general meeting, I do it post 4 o'clock so that, all of us are relaxed. The staff moves out by 5, 6. So then we can have a small discussion and all that. The rest of the time is
plan for some IBC seminar or something also.
So we're doing for
people are not awareness seminar. See, other than IBC practitioner, they are not aware of IBC.
So we are launching, just for your info, we're launching this course called.
Huh? When I come from segment, I saw this IBC. हमारा 12 बजे खत्म हो चुका है।
अदरवाइज तो नॉर्मल जगह जाके बोलते हैं आईबीसी तो बोलता है सुनने का ही नहीं है ना एज इफ के नॉट वांटेड
इट्स वेरी कॉम्प्लिकेटेड
सबसे पहले आपसे कहा कि मैं आईबीसी पर जानता
नहीं so IBC what we are doing is sir I'm launching one of those preparation series for IBC how to pass IBC that is a 3-day course that we're launching we're doing it in May I already announced it we'll be publishing it very soon so uske faculties bhi aa jayenge central se aata hai that is a very good program that we do so one is that second is we are also planning that IBC RRC that we do so every year we do it in Mumbai somewhere here in Mumbai only so that we all can have a good time we can get the best of the faculties logistics doesn't be a big cost for us but yeah we want to all go and stay in some
100 kilometers away from now otherwise people go back
so going home will not be an option
if it is within Bombay then people go back
they still will not let them
the main which IBC complications are increased I think sooner or later we will have articles without articles if somebody is passing this exam and they are going to be in big trouble
we did one RRC, not under WRC banner, but other.
It was some other SSC.
Here only nearby.
I know.
An excellent
place. Very good place.
And training
and IBC
is exclusive training center.
Yeah, it's exclusive. Yeah. So there are more like these. We are exploring. One of them is very close. I think we'll announce that very soon. Kar rahe hain IBC RRC. So that is there and. So you'll be forming a new committee very soon. नया चालू करते हैं. So let us know. We'll be happy to hear from you. I think one small thing is I'm expecting one publication from this study group.
Yeah, our institute is also publishing.
Sir, नहीं एक छोटा सा कुछ करते हैं. If at all of you agree.
I think we all have contributed to the
WRC publication. WRC publication. Again, see number of participants in India, all over India, from our total IPs are 4,000. All
active IPs are very,
active IPs are 500.
So, but Joe, what can happen in WRC, it will have the largest impact. Let me tell you that, frankly. The kind of marketing we do, the kind of, ICI does a lot of things, I'm agree. But, for example, coming out with some relevant digest of case laws, that, or anything what is relevant in terms of IBC, or a research paper or anything. Like for example, today after MSCME program, some people came and said, sir, why can't we make a representation of including a specific standard, which should guide to prepare a balance sheet for the consumption of bankers. What a thought. Just imagine.
For consumption?
use
For bankers,
Matlab,
for use of bankers.
only-
Bankers as a bank
So
perspective. what
bankers
is
when they
it?
look at the financials, they don't get the.
तो उनके लिए क्या important देखना चाहिए?
And there is a background to this conversation, so we can discuss that later on. But yes, so things like these come up in a group like this.
Good idea.
Group like this, and
No, but see, the thought behind that Ind AS and IFRS was that only from the financial point of view.
how it can be
what
consumed by
yes,
different stakeholders.
stakeholders. So it is a good idea, but you know, it's more or less taken.
Complications are so many. So we can think about take help of these stalwarts. Snell, right? IBC clinic.
IBC clinic.
Hmm.
So what I understand is IBC is more of
Three
a.
queries in each our newsletter.
We can do that. No, we can start a section. IBC का section आता ही है.
IBC section
Section आता ही है. I don't know who's updating it. आप हो और एक और है ना?
मल करके है
मुकुंद मॉल.
मुकुंद मल
So with that you must be giving the judgments.
judgment 1 or 2 judgment
IFRS, na?
नहीं. He's part of
IBC
this. But anyways, we could relook at.
ex BDO now he joined resurgent
Acha.
So IBC पे we could start one more section. I mean, if you want, we can definitely announce this, clinics for IBC and all. But I think it's more of a.
Clinic, like what Pankaj Bhai is suggesting, I normally conduct that. So what I suggest, we are having this study group meeting, right? On the same day,
Bring
have IP clinic before or after that.
नहीं,
And whoever comes, they can sort out that query through IPC.
yeah.
So both things can be done.
So this Zoom link that you have, for example, what we could do is while you're doing this program, we could invite queries on anything to do with IBC. They would be sent to you whenever you're meeting. You meet every month. So you must sort that out, work out. Yeah. So two things. One is of course this, and the other is if one of you could volunteer and jot down the minutes of what you're doing. So believe me, at the end of the year, it will become a great compilation of your discussions. अभी तक तो I don't know what is happening. अभी तक तो हो रहा है नहीं हो रहा है जा रहा होगा. But if you start taking it down from this year onwards.
स्टाफ प्रोवाइड कर दो आप.
सर नहीं स्टडी ग्रुप में तो नहीं हो सकता है. हम लोग ये जगह दे रहे हैं वो भी बहुत है आपको.
मिनट्स का बोल रहे हैं ना, एक अपने स्टाफ होएंगे ना.
स्टडी ग्रुप इज टोटली डिफरेंट. दिस इज नॉट टू डू विद WRC. हम आपको ये ओनली द रीजन दैट यू आर विद WRC यू आर एबल टू गेट दिस इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर. अदरवाइज वो भी नहीं है. यू हैव टू डू इट ऑन योर ओन इंडिपेंडेंटली. आपको बाहर खर्चा करके सब करना होता है. तो वो सब नहीं मिलता है. यहाँ पर आप क्या कर सकते हो, ये ले लो.
मिनट्स में ना देयर इज लॉट ऑफ एफर्ट्स इज गोइंग ऑन इन प्रिपेयरिंग द मिनट्स.
वही तो बात है. स्टडी ग्रुप की सब रिसर्च है का फिर आप लोग का. फिर तो आप पंचायत करने आ रहे हो.
for research only.
नहीं फिर आप ये तो पंचायती हो जाएगी ना. ऐसे छोटा सा ग्रुप, उसके लिए स्टडी ग्रुप क्या है. सीपी और ये सब दुनिया भर की अपन चीजें जो बोल रहे हैं, वैल्यू क्या है उसमें. तो आपको क्या करना है कि इफ यू कैन रियली कंपाइल एंड बिलीव मी समवेयर इट इज हैपनिंग एंड देयरफॉर आई हैव गॉट दिस ऑब्जर्वेशन इन वन ऑफ द प्लेसेस. अगेन वो IBC का ही था. I could see a year full of activities. I mean, they had compiled this and मतलब हर बार का, and they had printed it out and kept it कि ये इतने अच्छे discussions हमारे हुए हैं. That becomes a very good research publication actually, because you all have brainstormed, you'll have done something, and doesn't take much actually. Today, you can keep a recorder on. Go one of the offices could volunteer and note it down, and there's so many things that can be done. Can I have
this is Sampath here. Can I speak for a minute?
Yeah, Sampath. Yeah,
Sampath.
Sir, please, sir.
Okay, Arpit sir, first of all, congratulations for being the chairman.
Oh, thank you.
Institute is doing great work. Maybe it is providing us world-class infrastructure at virtually negligible rates. Second thing, I also thank you for allowing this meeting to be held on 1st of April, despite being a new financial year. For the previous year, taking in consideration the workload we have at March end. So thank you for two particular things. Now, just maybe a small suggestions from my side. You're a great, very frank person, sir. I've seen many chairmen, etc. But yes, your suggestions are always welcome. But when we are speaking from Institute Forum, maybe the words कि आप पंचायत कर रहे हैं, आप क्या कर रहे हैं, all this, sir, we possibly are more senior than you. This is simply unacceptable. Yes, I appreciate that Institute may not provide more infrastructure than this, but simply we cannot be dictated कि आप minutes बनाइए, आप ये minutes मत बनाइए, ऐसा कीजिए, वैसा कीजिए. You tell me which I'm member of many study groups. Which study group is doing? All chairmen have great intentions, but you cannot say आप पंचायत कर रहे हैं, ये कर रहे हैं, वो कर रहे हैं, sir. आप politics कर रहे हैं, हम लोग ये भी बोल सकते हैं. You are doing great work, but there's a way of speaking of a chairman, sir. a chairman of an institute is our representative, our flag holder. So please speak like as our flag holder. I apologize if I hurt you, but it is reputation of our institute, sir. And maybe as an elder brother, you may forgive me, but maybe when we are speaking at a forum, थोड़ा हमारा institute का जो reputation रहता है वो रहना चाहिए. Sorry for being frank.
Sir, well taken, but if you would have heard the conversation right, and I'm happy that you jumped to a very critical point when we spoke about this. I said if you're not doing any of these things, then people would say that ये तो सिर्फ वही हो रहा है. So please understand, when I am talking to you, when I'm saying all of this, I'm keeping in mind the reputation of this study group. Sorry.
I take back my views. I appreciate and I apologize, sir.
Yeah. So what happens is, typically we are all, our span of attention is limited, and the moment something happens like this, we suddenly arise. So the conversation behind and the perspective of that conversation is lost. And I can totally relate to it, and I totally appreciate that, you've come to this forum about talking about this. But if you would understand, what we are trying to harp on the view is why those minutes would be important. So I have not dictated anything. I have just recommended all of you, and I have tried to tell you that what is the advantage of keeping those things. Of course, it is your study group. You may decide, you may not decide. That is the conveners. It's a convener's call, and seniors like you are there to guide actually.
No, appreciate Arpit ji. When I meet person, I also tell you who was the brainchild of this idea, who has informed you this, who has told you this. So sir, even we are not new.
Stop नहीं तो वो continue रहेगा. तो वो online जो आते हैं ना वो disturb ही होता है.
अच्छा ऐसा है क्या?
हाँ वो disturb ही होता है इधर.
Okay, Devang sir. So I think well taken your point, but I hope you understood the perspective. Yeah. I hope you get the perspective of the conversation, and there is no conclusion to all of these things. But yes, so the idea is again two things that I would suggest. Maybe the new committee that would come in, the study group that would get in. One is of course we compile the minutes, because then the awareness to all other people is massive. You can always share that up. And second is maybe a publication or whatever, as you said, the IP cleaning or something like that. So constructive, I think more. So you're doing it for yourself, but how can we actually elevate it for the benefit of others? Because, for example, the RERA study group, I've got requests from far and wide areas ki please give us access to witness these study group discussions. Yeah. But virtually, because they cannot travel all the way. They are outside.
Here we have given the access. Virtually is for people from Ahmedabad, Bombay. Other than Renuka was from, I think, Coimbatore or somewhere. She is attending.
She was from South. Her accent was also very
And very good point she did.
So of course,
because what has happened in all over India, I think there is no other study group than for an IBC. At Ahmedabad, it might be there.
Nagpur mein.
IBC study group.
Yes. Working very well. Strong discussions, very solid discussions. So the point is, everyone is looking up to us. This study group, and can we also learn from these kind of study groups, and can we get a view, or can we? So these so people who are not an IP, or people who are generic also outside, they would want to
know this subject.
Yeah. So, but of course, we have a limitation that only members of the study group can participate.
No, here it is allowed.
Okay. Because of the IP.
No, what has happened? IPs are from 3 streams: cost accountant, chartered accountant.
Okay, sir. No. So I'm saying apne members. So WIRC mein, I cannot give an open forum. I cannot relay this on YouTube.
That is not possible.
Because this is a study group. It's not a webinar. It's not an event.
No.
That is why. So that is the distinction over here. But so if you come out with a very good kind of a compilation to say that ye discussion hua tha, so people could go through it. We could publish minutes or whatever it is. I was thinking if any of those lines we could work out, awareness would be elevated like anything, and it would help.
Constructive suggestions can be forwarded.
Absolutely. And otherwise, see, at WIRC, suppose if I'm going somewhere, I don't know what my study group is doing, because I don't spend time here, I don't come here. But if these minutes or something like that, I can always say, there was this, Pravinji has mentioned about this thing. So I think there is one, when I went last, there was some discussion going about on some new thing which is about to come up, IBC mein.
The entire law is going to be
नहीं एक कोई पर्टिकुलर चीज व्हाइट पेपर कुछ आया क्या या समथिंग
Public comment. No, it was
Public
an
comment was-
amendment, proposed amendment under the comment.
है ना there was some public comments required or something on that ऐसा कुछ अभी कुछ recently I mean talking
2
about
months back.
Jan and Feb
Jan 19 January or something.
yes.
I think 19 January. No, 19
Yes,
January
yes,
or something.
so उसपे this meeting was going on I was invited into that meeting and
Where?
very
In
good.
Bombay?
No, Nagpur.
Nagpur.
I was there and that is where I got to know all of these things so it's happening there
Here also we had one meeting.
Yeah.
but then see what is the outcome see none of us know right actually it should have been with WRC कि ये study group ने इतना करके लाया है this is the outcome so someone who's traveling someone who's
Can be made as a representation back from the WRC.
yeah we could always
What
submit
has
it no?
happened? See what has happened here. ICI is having a all India committee. And they are always on each and every discussion paper. They have a meeting and they give the suggestion.
No, we also have to give it to them only sir the idea is you are also connected with them but there are so many others who are not like privileged as you are that we are connected to both these places right so for you it becomes a very normal thing but for many for us for example at small places also when they do it no and we get it we can really put it and it makes a lot of sense वैसा है so if you think it from that perspective like Snehal bhai also knows a lot of people there but you know maybe sir would not know maybe sir would not know I don't know we are not connected to that committee so वो क्या होता है it becomes much more relevant than for us
Okay, long back. So we are fortunate that we have a young,
Very dynamic.
Yes.
and forward looking, yeah, na, technology wise, otherwise.
and we'll do a lot of
And
things
the
yes.
best part is at our institute level also we have very young and
Aniket bhai.
dynamic chairman. And
President,
वो क्या
yes.
बोलते हैं एक और एक जो दो नहीं होते double engine
Double
है.
engine.
It become 1 + 1 is 11. We are getting the benefit of 11 not 2.
Yeah, we should do
Both
that.
the place even at ICS.
Yes,
yes.
Very helpful in understanding. We also
Sorry, sir?
thank you for being very helpful in understanding कि हम लोग का मार्च का 1 April में करने दिया or else even this the number of people would have been more less. So we thank you for that, sir.
No, sir, absolutely. I mean, there's no doubt. Anything for constructive work always available, sir. I think.
Yeah.
ठीक है. So look forward to hear from you all again very soon and get the new committee, new group formed.
And we are sure
And
that
sir,
we will have a good
I think
Arpit Kal.
no, and really a good farewell, sir. Really wish
Yeah.
you all the best. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
your service.
Even he
One
is
full
also
year.
there with me.
No,
so
he's always there, but right now your name is there, so you know you are the one to either take all the credits or take the debits. If anything goes
Thank you.
wrong, you will get the debits. If all of this has gone well, so I think you should get the credit. So a wonderful year gone by. Please join me and congratulate Praveen Bhai for this wonderful year.
Praveen bhai also is with
And
us.
of course, Praveen Bhai is a
Fabulous.
Vishwa Pitama
Yeah.
for all of us
Ah.
in that sense. Right. Thank you everyone online. See you soon sometime. Do drop by to BKC. We'll be happy to catch up with you. I think one of the biggest challenges that now we have is asking people to come physically
Yes.
because virtuals are closed now. No CP would be generated through virtual programs anymore.
Okay.
Okay.
Booklet, the bank audit booklet is still available.
हाँ, of course yes. You can buy it out. ऊपर आ जाओ 8th floor पे आ जाओ दे देंगे. Yeah.
And sir, good of you that
Yeah.
in spite of 1 April, you
Yes.
didn't consider this as a joke. You came here.
Oh, okay.
All the best.
Sir, thank you. Sir.
All the
Pleasure,
best.
sir, pleasure. Yes, sir. See you.
Okay. All the best.
Group photo. हाँ नहीं ये इनका प्रोग्राम चल रहा है ना
हाँ.
सर थोड़ा क्लोज
अच्छा, स्नेहल भाई.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
A minute.
तो फिर
बाद में
Allowed to speak for a minute. First
Yeah,
of
yeah,
all, I
please.
thank you, Setia sir. This is possibly rarely that someone even.
I am
Hello?
आवाज तो भी ऐसा ही आता है.
देवांग भाई बोलो. We can hear you.
Acha. Thank you, sir. Snehal bhai, nice to hear you. I'm unable to see you, but nice to hear you. Sir, we thank you, Setia sir. This is rarely that in a discussion of insolvency and bankruptcy code, that the main code that is created for entrepreneur and entrepreneur's position is being discussed, who makes any country. So maybe as a very senior person and a senior banker, it is great to hear of that, because no one talks of businesses and entrepreneurs. Everyone only talks of recovery and insolvency professionals and bankers. But this is a rare forum and rare discussion where the main crux of the matter, businesses and enterprises, being discussed. So really great to know that. And second thing, maybe even the development of banking, etc. We have possibly, for me at least, it was something new, which possibly I had not studied so much in detail. So that was a very positive takeaway. Now I let the forum to you, sir. Please continue with the discussion. Since there was a break in between, I thought I'll put my views.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
The journey to the banking was very good. Re-nationalization, it was very good.
Very good. And now continuing our discussion further, safeguarding and protection of assets and its value. So what are the same, I think, going concern points?
Many points on
yes, on this we have discussed.
Many
Then
points.
Invitation of resolution.
I think invitation and approval of invitation of resolution plan and approval of resolution plan, we can club and discuss about this. What are the issues being faced?
No, hardly.
Abhi, a point came in the morning about the compliance in preparation of resolution plans. In the morning, they mentioned that it is rejected at the NCLT level. No, sir, I think. Huh?
Why it is being rejected?
Yes.
Resolution plans are submitted, A rejects it.
At,
just now in the
Madam only said, no, right now, Madam
mentioned.
Madam has said, it has been.
So basically,
She has prepared a list of the, companies where the plan was rejected by AA.
On the grounds, various grounds.
On various grounds,
basically non-compliance of the code provisions. That is what.
It's a victim and the IP will be in trouble there.
True.
That is the basic role of RP.
You should have a checklist.
Whenever the RFRP is prepared, RFRP should comply with the IBC code, and the resolution plan has to comply with RFRP.
RFRP is a large document. Okay. Most of the RP will call some senior IT. इस RFRP का फॉर्मेट दो, उसमें वो EMD चेंज करते हैं, 3 चीज चेंज करते हैं, नाम चेंज करते हैं, डालते हैं. And that is where the risk arises. And most of the RFRP does not contain the detailed process. It gives an open end. How the process will be. RFRP is a document which has to define the process. The challenges that come is because the process is not defined. Whether the bidders will be called together and the open bidding will be done, whether there will be a Swiss challenge done, none of the RFRP document will have these documents.
I have seen recently, I'm preparing one plan where the plan value is around approximately 10 crore rupees, and they say that the EMD of 5 crore rupees to be deposited. What is this? I wrote to him, कि क्या लिखा है तुमने यार? What is this?
We have also come across. Sir, I
उसको लिखता हूँ तो भी वो बोलते I will have to go.
And set value in the IM, what is being shown is not more than 1 crore.
And what is the deposit?
5 crore.
5 crore.
Actually, see, all those cases whereby only the name is changed, as you rightly observed.
So,
and then he said typo error हो गया. Typo error नहीं, control पे actually जो cut paste किया है ना, वो भी cut paste नहीं किया, control A cut paste किया है. पूरा का पूरा उठा के नाम change किया है खाली.
Now on the matter is evaluation matrix. Now actually evaluation matrix came into picture when only the H1 was to be presented as per the evaluation matrix for voting. As on date, all the plans has to be presented for voting. Then where does the evaluation matrix stands? So if all the plans are presented and all the plans are voted, the one which is voted highest is the successful applicant. Where is the EM going to play a role?
EM going to play because then that matrix one financial know whom to vote. Now, if your plan is 90 marks and his plan is 80 and mine is 70, we know we have to vote Snell by his plan.
Sir, Rajesh Leisure.
Rajesh Leisure.
Hotel.
Yes,
बराबर है. H3 को उसने दिया है, वोटिंग किया है. अभी आप बताइए.
नहीं, बट उसमें ऐसा है कि जो evaluation matrix है, it becomes a benchmark, right? Now, if it is 90, 80 and 70, H3 is 70. If as a banker, I am going to vote for 70, I need to justify that why I am voting for 70.
For their internal record.
For their
internal.
Because the
Our point is
bank does not balance it.
utility for EM was to give a marking. Based on that marking, to have a transparency, the EM was in place. Now, as per marking, there is a S3 who is voted as a successful resolution applicant. Who has a right to challenge it? No one.
No one.
No one. Where is the question that why do you evaluation matrix जो बनाते हैं उसका जो composition है उसमें एक तो quantitative and qualitative. Qualitative तो हमेशा उस COC के कंट्रोल में ही है, बराबर है. तो वहाँ वो मैट्रिक्स का जो वैलिडिटी है is only comes into play. My understanding as of now, when there are two people having the same marks and they need to take a call, then it's a separate thing. Then evaluation matrix pay. But most of the COCs don't work on now that model. Evaluation matrix, I have changed in one of the matter 5 times evaluation matrix scoring. So as such, as a RP, I have no rule. मैंने तो evaluation matrix दे दिया, evaluation matrix score उनको बनाना है. बिल्कुल मैं help करूँगा. बिल्कुल. कि समझ में नहीं आता है तो मैं बताऊंगा कि ये ऐसा है. वो बोलेगा 5 डाल तो 5 डालूंगा, वो बोलेगा 4 पॉइंट डाल 4 डालना है. सही है. तब तक उसको जो पॉइंट नहीं आएगा ना तब तक वो चेंज होते रहता है. Right. So technically now RFRP and evaluation matrix में RFRP has become very important more than evaluation matrix now. And RFRP means the process from the day of issue of EOI till the passing of plan and voting done has to be mentioned. What we find in RFRP is only of the what is the process to be followed. No process of COC is ever mentioned how COC will be working in RFRP in getting the voting done, where they will be taking all together or not, because challenge वही है. आज मेरे को आपको जिताना है तो मैं क्या करूंगा as a COC member, I run the show transparently, एंड में मैं वोट आपको कर दूंगा, ये कुछ भी दे, उसमें मेरा कंट्रोल नहीं. बट वही चीज अगर मैं प्लान में लिख के देता हूँ कि सब लीडर को साथ में बुलाऊंगा, सबको EM का मार्क्स दूंगा, EM में कौन ज्यादा है, तो अगर मैंने आपको बोल दिया आज ये राजेश लीडर का तो वो बाद में माना है कि अच्छा अभी उसमें H1 और H2 if they want they can always challenge that.
Yeah.
Because H3 को दिया है और उसका कोई बेस नहीं.
बेस यही बोलते हैं ना कि कैश बैलेंस है 403 करोड़ रुपया.
So किसका?
नमन ग्रुप का.
नहीं वो उन्होंने क्या आंसर दिया है कि नमन ग्रुप का उसमें we feel that they are more stronger than what. Have you asked other two what is their strength?
No, that is not.
Then
वो उनका
मैं बोलूंगा यार प्रवीण भाई is more stronger than Setia ji. ऐसा कैसे हो सकता है?
बेस का
I should have given Setia ji offer. That sir, produce your papers.
Correct.
To show your strength.
No cognitive evidence.
और जब आपने वैल्यूएशन मैट्रिक्स बनाया उस टाइम पे आपने क्वालिटेटिव पैरामीटर्स का मार्क्स डिटरमिन किया, आपने किया.
हाँ. आपने क्यों evaluation matrix के टाइम ये सब कंसीडर नहीं किया आपने? It was your right.
Correct.
Evaluation matrix is given by you only, so it can be easily challenged. My point is,
Yeah.
as a process, as a RP, when we run the process, our focus should be resolved. One, not at our cost. That is the first point. And second point is, if you have to run the show, okay, do it transparently. Okay, whether it is with COC है या कोई भी है, you have to go lower ahead with them if they don't understand. And this is mischief they are playing. Extension of plan, time, UI, एक बार नहीं, 2 बार नहीं, क्यों? ये बोला सर मेरा बाकी एक्सटेंड करो ना, आप बोले RP एक्सटेंड करते जा रहा है, क्यों कर रहा है? मैंने एक्सटेंशन और एक्सक्लूजन का एप्लीकेशन फाइल किया हुआ है
अकोमोडेट करने के लिए ना.
एक्सटेंशन और एक्सक्लूजन का जब तक मेरे को वहां से इंफॉर्मेशन नहीं आता, मेरा तो डे एंड हो गया इधर, मैं रन कर रहा हूँ प्रोसेस फिर भी एज्यूमिंग कि आएगा, मैं आपको नोट लिख के दे रहा हूँ, हाँ आएगा तो आपका चलेगा। अरे व्हाट नॉनसेंस, आएगा तो चलेगा? यू कैन नॉट डू दैट। यू डोंट हैव पावर्स ओनली टू रन आफ्टर योर डेज आर ओवर। मोस्ट ऑफ द प्रोसेसेस आर रन ऑन दिस मोड। हम आईबीबीआई को बोलते हैं आईबीबीआई डज पेपर वर्क। अगर आपका पेपर वर्क बराबर है, आईबीबीआई कुछ नहीं करेगा।
सही है।
अगर आपने पेपर वर्क नहीं किया,
हाँ।
तो आईबीबीआई आपके सिर पे नाचेगा,
हाँ।
और बजाए। Unless you are strong on your paperwork, you cannot blame the regulator. I also feel the pain of what regulator is doing, but you read, there are so many now. उसने इतने disciplinary और सब high court में जाके, it is not so going to be easy for regulator also to penalize us. Okay, so many applications, more than 100 applications are there now against regulator. जिससे DC हुआ है, सीधा जाके high court में बैठ रहा है। बॉम्बे हाई कोर्ट तो नहीं, गुजरात हाई कोर्ट तो सीधा अटका दिया, सब पे स्टे दे रहा है। इफ यू आर अ गुजरात आईपी एंड यू हैव गॉट अ डीसी एक्शन, गो टू गुजरात हाई कोर्ट, विद इन अ मंथ यू विल गेट अ स्टे ऑन द डीसी एक्शन। बॉम्बे हाई कोर्ट हैज नॉट मूव्ड अ सिंगल एप्लीकेशन दैट, बट इट इज लाइक देयर इज समवन हु इज मूविंग दैट फॉर इट एंड ही इज गेटिंग दैट ऑर्डर्स। वहां भी लैकुना है, उसके पास भी आदमी नहीं है सर।
गुजरात
हाई कोर्ट में भी नहीं है ना।
हाई कोर्ट क्या, आईबीबीआई के पास भी कहाँ?
आईबीबीआई के पास भी नहीं
आपको
है।
जो आता है ऑर्डर ना, उसमें वो लिखता है रेगुलेशन 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ये कौन सा, लेकिन तू लिख के बता ना 2 में क्या है, 3 में क्या है, मैंने वेट किया, वो आंसर उसके पास आज भी नहीं।
और ये जो अपॉर्चुनिटी लूज होती है आईपी को, उसका
आंसर ही नहीं है। और सर सिंपल बोलता हूँ, रेगुलेशंस में डीसी का, डीसी वाला मतलब बहुत नजदीक का नाव पकड़ लिया है आपने सब आईपीस का, आज का नहीं है, बट उसमें there is a timeline given for them to issue the notice. There is timeline given to take action. They don't follow any timelines. Regulator is not following any timelines. तो वो बहुत सारा चीज है, मसाला बहुत है,
और ऑर्डर्स भी जो so actions are also so frequent. थोड़ी सी चीज होती है, they take action. This is not the way to.
सर उनका देखो, जैसे अर्पित भाई अभी बात कर रहे थे अर्पित से, तो बुक का बात निकला, उन्होंने अच्छी तरह से प्रेजेंट किया अपने को कि पीआर है। पीआर नहीं है सर, मेरा ये दुकान कहाँ चलेगा? आज मेरा इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर कॉस्ट है ना, इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर कॉस्ट तो मेरा कॉम्प्लिकेशन सेल से ही निकल रहा है थोड़ा सा। देयर इज अ पार्ट ऑफ रेवेन्यू दैट कम्स इन इट। Okay. Same way for IBBI, they run on our fees only,
right?
Penalties and all. That initially there are 2 sections. Okay, there are 2 funds of IBBI. One fund for the benefit of the IPs and development of IBC, and another fund for general and administrative purpose. When IBC was made, that time all these penalties and fines were the part of the fund which was to be used for IBC development. One fine day they amended it, and all fines and penalties now are the part of that administrative fund. So previously 3 years they had a subsidy from government to run the show. After 3 years they had to be self-sustained. So for self-sustaining they require fund, and that fund can be generated not from 4000 IP का फीस से क्या चलाएगा क्या उसका? 4000 का IP में फीस में निकलना ही नहीं है उसका, तो पेनल्टी से ही निकलेगा।
पेनल्टी से अभी उन्होंने वो रेजोल्यूशन प्लान वगैरह का भी लगाया ना, हाँ रेगुलेटरी फी आया ना।
आईपी को आईपी बनाने का डाला, पहले तो आईपीई इज बोर्न आउट ऑफ रेगुलेशन, इट इज नॉट अ पार्ट ऑफ द कोड,
राइट?
उसको इट इज आर्टिफिशियल बॉडी बोर्न आउट ऑफ रेगुलेशन, उसको तुमने यू आर गिविंग द सेम राइट्स ऑफ अ आईपी हु इज बोर्न आउट ऑफ कोड। मतलब कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल मिसमैच बहुत है उसमें, वो चैलेंज करेगा, क्या होगा वो सब छोड़ देने का। लेट्स फोकस एज आईपी। आई ऑलवेज से दैट व्हेन वी आर आईपी, अपना काम क्या है? रेजोल्यूशन करने का, आईपी का अपॉइंट करना है। अपने को मालूम है प्रॉब्लम वाले एरिया में जा रहे हैं, आईपी बनने का मतलब आपको मालूम है आप प्रॉब्लमेटिक एरिया में जा रहे हैं, फिर रोते नहीं बैठना है। प्रोफेशनल ये प्रॉब्लम है, वो प्रॉब्लम तो होना ही है, इसलिए तो आईपी बना है। Once you have become an IP, you have accepted the fact that you have to enter into this zone. Then whenever you are taking an assignment, why you are crying, find a solution at your end. If you are not, don't take assignments.
Very right, Very right.
Assignments are only to be taken by the people who have guts to stand by that things, prepare the documents and execute it. डर लगता है मत करो. 4000 आईपी है, बंद कर दो काम, अपने आप सब लाइन पे आएंगे.
But with the
वो तो करना नहीं है. आज तो भीड़ में लगे हैं सब. अब मिनिमम फीस अभी स्टैंडर्ड हो गया ना. मिनिमम फीस कोई देता है 1 रुपया, उससे ज्यादा
नहीं देता है.
एक बार ला दिया चार्ट तो क्या करने का, मिनिमम लेने का. तो वो भीड़ में क्या था, उनको लग रहा था भाग जाएंगे तो अटक जाएंगे, उससे चाहिए दे देते, गाजर लेके अटका दिया हमको. अभी वो सब वो भीड़ में अटके हैं कि ट्रांजेक्शन लाओ करेंगे. 2 लाख 1 लाख जो है, अभी 1 लाख तो मिलेगा ना, चलो. बट वो आगे का क्या, वो 1 लाख चालू रहेगा 6 महीने के बाद क्या, उसका स्टोरेज का क्या. अभी जितने भी अभी भी मैं बोल रहा हूँ सीआरपी पे फीस लगाई ना प्रोफेशनल पे. आपने सीआरपी कॉस्ट में कितने जन ने गिना और कितने सीआरपी कॉस्ट में वो सीओसी ने बैन करने को अलाउ किया है. वो सब वो अपने आईपी के जेब से ही जाएगा पैसा.
क्या 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 क्या
प्रोफेशनल अपॉइंटमेंट यू हैव टू पे द फीस टू आईबीपीएल.
हाँ यस वो 1%.
हाँ तो वो क्या है, इट इज अ पार्ट ऑफ सीआरपी कॉस्ट.
CIRP cost.
बराबर है. सीआरपी कॉस्ट इज टू बी बोर्न बाय आरए और सीओसी. कितना सीओसी ने अलाउ किया है तुमको, जब तक वो रेटिफाई नहीं होगा क्या करोगे आप.
तो देना ही पड़ेगा. कैपिटल
देना पड़ेगा मतलब मेरे को तो क्वार्टर एंड पे देना है.
क्वार्टर का कैश पे अपना एक्रूल बेस पे देना है.
मेरे को तो देना है.
बाकी है
और सीओसी जैसे
बैटरी भी खत्म हो रहा है इसका ना, हो जाएगा
पैसा आउटस्टैंडिंग में रिजॉल्व होगा तो वहां से ले लेना, वरना हम बाद में देंगे.
बाद में कभी आता नहीं है.
There are matters where our fees is stuck since 1890.
We can.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
On this particular point, I have a slightly different viewpoint, because what happens is on approval of resolution plan, RP has already demitted office. So if he has demitted office, he will not be responsible. उसके बाद resolution applicant जाने और COC जाने. हमने तो ऑफिस डेमिट कर दिया, तो अभी हमारा रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी नहीं चलता है, हमारा कंट्रोल नहीं चलता है. और सेकंड चीज है सर, अभी सिर्फ सेटिया सर्विस है, हम लोग ये सीओसी एंड इसके ऊपर डिस्कस करेंगे. ये आईपी एंड फीस के बारे में हम लोग बाद में डिस्कस करेंगे. कभी आपको सीखने मिलेगा.
Well noted.
चलो सर.
So can we move forward to the next point on forensic audit and PUFE transactions? I think the most controversial and difficult part.
Is there any qualification for forensic auditor, or he should be IP, or he should not be chartered accountant, or even if he is not a chartered accountant by IP, whether he can be forensic auditor? How it is to be treated? Is there any qualification?
If I have to appoint, I appoint chartered accountant. Whether it's IP or not is not a requirement.
Yeah, IP is not requirement.
But chartered accountant is my requirement.
Okay.
Okay. That is according to me, there is no qualification. Cost accountant can also become IP. Can do this audit. Forensic
Transaction audit.
We can do.
CES can also do, but it depends. We appoint one who has done a certificate course of forensic of an institute, or on the past side we do is on the panel of IBA, approved list of auditors by IBA. From that list we pick, so even banker does not have an issue, and we also don't have an issue. So we normally take from that. But there is, to my understanding, forensic audit qualification is not defined anywhere.
Okay.
So forensic audit, sir, forensic transaction audit. Now there are a lot of orders that are coming, which are giving huge precedence now for us. So that will actually be a learning in the days to come. Recently, I think one order came where payment was made to a FC and it has been considered as a preferential transaction.
I see.
Starting में आया था, GP में तो आया था, BG वाला transaction.
लगता है चार्जर का स्विच चालू करो ना. स्विच नीचे होगा.
switch.
लाओ ना उधर से लाओ दो
निकाल दो इधर है.
We'll try it here. उधर पॉइंट भी आप जरा
Yes, Setia sir, what are your views on this? कैसे ये कॉन्फ्लिक्ट को किया जाए? बेसिकली कॉन्फ्लिक्ट कौन सा पॉइंट पे और कैसे रिजॉल्व किया जाए?
Can you come again?
Sir, when you
Sir,
speak online, it is very difficult for to hear.
Sir,
Come
I
again?
agree. Sir, ये जो अवॉइडेंस ट्रांजैक्शन जो है इस पे कॉन्फ्लिक्ट मे बी बैंकर्स एंड सीओसी में कौन से पॉइंट पे, हाउ टू रिजॉल्व दैट? मे बी प्रैक्टिकल व्यू पॉइंट सर.
Yes, actually, see, I don't think if any unit is running and it has run for few years and you will not find any transaction which has been diversion. Each and every transaction account, you will find that there are diversion transaction by promoters. In fact,
This question was something else.
Payment
to bank itself, whether it is in conflict with the payment of the.
The payment to bank is a different issue because if there are five or six lenders and you have made payment to one lender, it can be a preferential transactions also. It can be a preferential transaction because when the account goes bad, when there is a NPA tag to the account, there is a competition amongst the bankers to retrieve and recover whatever best is possible. Though at times it is a funds which is available to the consortium of lenders, but some bankers will deny that and they will appropriate in their account. They will appropriate. It can be a preferential transaction even to the financial creditors, but at times the diversion and this misappropriation by the promoters is also a very vague area, very gray area. It has not been properly defined, and now I think there is an order from the High Court also now that before you tag a account a fraud account, you must give them an opportunity, and even the willful default also. Basically, it is used as a pressurizing techniques by the bankers to tag the account as a willful default. You know what happens? We are not into the banking whereby the borrowers can get a timely funds and there is a lender's responsibility. In the advanced market, financial market, there is a lender's responsibility also. Suppose you have committed to a particular project and then you delay disbursement, then you are also responsible in that. But that is no more there is not there in Indian conditions. The bankers take its own time to take a decision. I'm also a banker. We know that जब होगा तब देंगे, इसमें मेरे ऊपर कोई pressure नहीं लगा सकता है. So now in this situation, if the project is going and if he needs funds on 1st April and I give him on 31st of July, what the promoter is going to do? He will bring funds from some of his other account to fill this gap of 2 months period. I label that also as a, of course, I'm not so in support of the promoter. There are few promoters who are really mischievous. But as per my experience, 90% of the promoters to do under compulsive circumstances. Yes. So there is no distinction at the moment between a genuine use of funds for some, because the promoter is running 3 or 4 or 5 projects at a time. If in one project the amount is delayed, he brings it from the other. But the thing is that smart promoters, what they have done is, who is running a group of companies, they run their own treasury division. So whatever is the surplus, they will always keep about 10 to 20% of their 6 months requirement as a surplus and invested in a treasury. They will invest the fund there and they will borrow from that particular unit. So you cannot directly label them as a diversion of funds. But the promoters who are not very much having a professional approach, they will just make a direct entry from one unit to another unit, and then they will get caught in the diversion transactions. So lot of applications are filed. I doubt that if majority of the application will see the light of the day.
Yes. The second,
those application will remain as a application, and even if you get an order, recovering the money is something which is, unless and until it is a direct case and you can get a charge on the assets.
Charge on the asset to secured lender as such charges they are not getting.
Personal assets अगर है तो कुछ pressurizing technique वगैरह करके order लेके आप कुछ निकाल सकते हो, but otherwise is very difficult.
But sometimes we find when the Section 7 application is made, the promoter or the corporator tries to settle that amount, and then ultimately if he fails, then whether that payment also will be treated as a preferential transaction. Because it is prior to insolvency commencement date, it is within the look back period.
Witness of the court, no. Ultimately, see.
Not witness of the. नहीं है ना, कोर्ट ने नहीं बोला है कि तुम दे दो. आपने फाइल किया है, मैंने आपको दिया, भाई settle होगा.
Circumstantial evidence which proves that to settle these dues, he has to.
But then the other dues I have not paid, and I have paid to you only.
OTS, OTS.
So you have filed the petition against me, and I paid you, but that is not a ground for exemption.
It is not a ground for, but you can have a good case, as a promoter.
Case, but then others,
ultimately, Section 7 application itself is putting the entire stake of the promoter.
It's when you give a benefit to other. Okay. So in that case, what we are talking, what sir is talking, मेरा default कब हुआ बैंक का? So for example, 1st January को 1st January मेरा कट ऑफ डेट हो गया. जितने भी क्रेडिटर उस दिन को जिसका ड्यू था, वो क्रेडिटर के पहले मैंने अगर पेमेंट कर दिया है आपको, then I am doing preference to you against
others.
अभी जो 12A का बात हो रहा है, चलो उसमें वो पे कर रहा है किसी को, बराबर है, लेकिन वो जब डिफॉल्ट हुआ था उस दिन के क्रेडिटर्स को यही नहीं, उसके बाद वाले क्रेडिटर्स है, तो उसको फर्क नहीं है. बट वो सर्कमस्टेंशियल है, यू हैव टू स्टडी एंड
you have to case to case, but otherwise normally it will come if it is a payment to the lender, payment to the banker, it will normally be treated as a payment in due course, unless and until you are able to challenge and prove.
COC में वो बैठता है, इसलिए ऐसा होता है
सर. अगर corporate debtor insolvency में आया due to guarantee given for subsidiary company, and now during this insolvency always transaction coming 43, 45, 49, 50, 66. The debtor is saying, sir, I have not defaulted on any borrowed money. This was whatever I have done. My status is guarantor. How you will cover with 43, 45, 49, 50, 66? Because the default has been done by subsidiary company. I gave corporate guarantee. But I am in insolvency because due to invocation of that corporate guarantee. But in principally, I have not defaulted any of the.
So what happens? But then if you are given a preference or something,
preference because my business was like that. Where is the diversion of the fund? One is the borrower. Borrower transaction covered in section 43, 45, all this. One is the guarantor. There is a zero default.
But उसका भी अगर वो
प्रेफरेंस हुआ तो डिफॉल्ट हो गया ना.
गारंटी हो गया, बट पहले के जो प्रेफरेंशियल पेमेंट किया उसने नॉर्मल कोर्स ऑफ बिजनेस किया है.
वो then that preferences and guarantee or default own default is not distinction ना.
But what is the how long this will stand in the court?
Meeting terminate कर.
But I think last point I think then handover of the unit and approval of resolution plan. इसमें
Here one question.
Sir, ये तो बहुत लंबा है सर।
हाँ।
5 मिनट में नहीं होगा।
I think
नहीं होगा।
we will have to prolong it for the next.
Yes, yes, okay, we'll do that, and I think since the time is over,
Yes.
And these sessions are all interactive session. You
Yes.
cannot curtail and complete it, है ना?
Yes.
करने के लिए करना कोई मतलब नहीं है. It
एक
has
बार
to
में
be.
वाला काम नहीं है।
very right,
Huh?
very right.
So,
काम खत्म करने वाला काम नहीं
on
है.
behalf of WRC of ICI, I am very much thankful to Mr. Setia. It is said that quantity, it doesn't matter. It's quality which matters. So we had a very good qualitative discussion here, and it's definitely, it was as a bankers, we come to know so many laws which we were not under our, which we were student at that point of time. So I thank you, Mr. Setia, for enlightening us about the earlier laws of banking and all this thing. So for taking us to the journey of the entire banking system.
And insolvency.
Thank you. Yeah. So thank you very much, sir. And with this, I request all the.
Thank Devang Bhai also for arranging such a nice meeting.
Yes. We should thank Mr. Devang Sampath also for that.
Devang bhai.
Thank you for all done nothing. Everything has been done by you
Devang
people,
bhai, I came
especially.
late only after seeing your message. Interesting talk going on. So I rushed down from the meeting to here.
Devang sir, next time your presence is required.
Yeah.
Inspiring and motivating.
Thank you, and thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so much for giving me an opportunity.
I had spoken to Abizar Bhai for next meeting, so he has agreed to it. So any subject which anybody would like to suggest him, is study so far or
Take him, journey so far in IBC.